fuck you doing?
Remember that name? Good Pizza with 3 Z's, baby. 3 Z's.
Welcome back to the Good Pizza Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to smoke some good tree with you, break some bread with you, and talk good pizza. The podcast is all about our journeys with this beautiful cannabis plant, where it's taking us, how our paths intertwine, and where we're going from here. I have a very special guest today. This gentleman to the right of me is one of my East Coast cugines. Super happy to have the East Coast in the building. Hailing from Long Island, New York, he's done some pretty cool stuff on his 33 years on the rock. He's also been high for most of it, folks. Currently the VP of content for HighTimes, having judged every major cannabis competition from Clios to Zalympix. He publishes a monthly collection of his favorite new products dubbed the Stone Cold Cop List for HighTimes, as well as featured profiles of his favorite brands. A long life, creative, Jon has been finding ways to work in the music and greater entertainment industries since he was a teen. He's a mover and a shaker, and on literally every cannabis scene you can think of globally. Far from a local joker. Yes, he's coast to coast like Space Ghost, folks. We finally got him during his travels to Sacramento, so I'm happy to learn more about his story and get to know him a little better. I'm gonna shut the fuck up and let him tell his story. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my man, Jon Cappetta. What's up, my guy?
I appreciate you, bro. That might be the nicest intro that I've ever gotten.
Oh, man, thank you, bro.
I like the bio use, but the end, that you crushed that.
Yeah, man, no doubt. No, I had to chop it up with a little bit of my flavor and what I knew about
Of course.
And
I like the Space Ghost reference, you know?
No doubt.
But yeah, thank you for having me.
How you doing, man?
Good, bro. Good to be here. Nice to be in Sacramento. It's been,
bro. We're always happy to have you, man.
It's been like, it's been like a year since I've been here. And
No
like
shit.
every time I come up, I'm like, God damn, I love it up here. I will say though, this is the first time I'm experiencing the heat like this.
Oh, no shit?
I didn't know how much hotter it was up here.
Oh, yeah,
I know.
bro.
I was like, I
fuck
thought
you up.
We're like so much further south. It should be cooler down there. And then I looked at the weather when I was coming up here. It's like, oh, it's gonna be like 103. I was like,
Oh, that's a fact.
the fuck is that about?
Yeah.
That's not even San Diego weather.
No,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
no, bro. San Diego is like the perfect everything.
100%. It's look, coastal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I will say, I made a joke about that on like a live, and a bunch of people were like, hit me up to school me on geography, and they're like, well, you're in the valley and there's the Delta breeze and all this shit, and I was like, I'm sorry, I thought it was funny. I wasn't trying to like
Right.
I wasn't trying to offend anybody.
Well, bro, you have to, like, when you move to California, you have to, first of all, you learn what the word microclimates is. I didn't know that was a
100%.
word. That's not a word on the word.
100%,
right?
bro. Like, you learn about hard water. Like I didn't know what the fuck hard water was before I moved out here. Like,
bro. Yeah,
crazy.
hard water. We had hard water in Jersey, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
okay.
fucked up, man. But
We had soft water in New York.
yeah, you guys, it's the best water, bro. Come on now, best
All the bagels.
bagels, pizza. Come on, bro. Like when I moved out to Pennsylvania for a little spell. Shout out to Allentown, Pennsylvania. You know, the pizzerias out there would always be like, yeah, we get the water shit from Brooklyn. Like, I was, get the fuck out of here, water from Brooklyn. But you know, I'm starting to think they fucking did, bro.
So there are some people like in LA. There's some New York-based shops, and like they don't get the water shipped out. They just get the dough made over there, and then they
Okay.
ship the dough out. You know what I mean? Which
Easy.
still seems like
Easy. That's what
good option.
Very.
But listen, I'll be honest. I think that the secret to the water in New York is just like all the antidepressants and drugs that end up in our fucking in our water system.
Yeah.
So you know, we're chemically balanced a little bit better.
Chemically balanced and balanced. I love it. Hell yeah, bro. Well, I want to take it back to your, before we jump into the HighTimes and and the life and the adult stuff. Always cool to tap into the childhood, man. What was young Jon's childhood like? What was the come up like, brother?
So
Tell me
I
about it.
was always into arts, just the arts in general,
Okay.
right? So like when I was a kid, I was like trying to figure out how I can get to concerts and like be involved in the entertainment world.
Nice.
I did not have a musical bone in my body. I tried. I played fucking bass. I played guitar, and I have terrible time.
No doubt.
You know, that wasn't going to be the way I did it.
No doubt.
So I kind of just like had this DIY mentality from like being young of like, if I just put stuff together and like provide value to like the various things that like I could probably get access, right? And so like I'd start like, you know, doing marketing for bands that I liked and get tickets to their shows, or like, you know, work with artists that like I was a fan of and like get access to like, you know, recording sessions or like, you know, demos and shit like
Sure.
that. And that's kind of just been my mentality for life, and just kind of like push it a little bit further. And then when I got to college, it really, throwing shows became the way that I could also make money. And I didn't
Dope.
really, at that time, I wasn't really thinking about like, oh, this could be a career. It was just like, oh, this is fun. I'm a teenager. I'm trying to have fun. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny thinking back, like, you don't really think you're going to last this long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't, like, it's hard to look past, like, your 21st birthday. You know what I mean?
Bro.
It's just like, oh, we got to have as much fun as we can before then, you know? And I was good at that. When I was a teenager, I was very good at that. And eventually, like, after a while of throwing shows, it kind of, I moved out to California. This is all while I lived in New York. And then I moved out to California basically because I, like, you know, I knew it was like a dream life out here, like living in, you know, on the beach in Southern California. Sounds amazing. But cannabis was a big part, like, a big part of it. I wanted access to like this new legal world that was happening. This was like 2014. Like, it was still.
What circle? What year is 2014?
Yeah, it was 2014. So it was still like, I had been getting plenty of California weed in New Paltz. So when I went to college in New Paltz, but even in the city and shit like that. New Paltz is like halfway between New York City and Albany. It's
she was upstate.
Yeah, you know where Marist is?
I don't.
Okay, so Poughkeepsie.
Poughkeepsie, yeah.
Okay, so it's right across the river from Poughkeepsie.
Okay.
Poughkeepsie's like probably like that's like where the Metro North station is. Like if we had to go back home or something like that. But New Paltz is like a liberal arts fucking weirdo college. The reason I went
Those
there,
are fun colleges.
But the reason I went there is because I was on a tour, like, and I was just like touring state schools, so I didn't give a shit about going to college. I was like, I just need to figure out. I was selling weed, that was doing, pretty good.
Yeah.
Like none of this fucking matters. I learned by doing, not by fucking
matter.
in a school system. I was aware very early that like a diploma was just basically a receipt for like you can do something, not like anything that anybody was ever gonna want to see again. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like that's like your permanent record. Like I realized really young, like, oh, like none of these people are keeping track of shit. Like I can do whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean?
Right. That part.
So again, when it was like I could throw shows, I could do weed stuff. I was working for Red Bull at the time, and Red Bull when I was in college. This is when I was in college. Red Bull put me into some like super high level marketing classes.
Nice.
Super young. When I was like my freshman year of college, I was like 17. And I started learning about like marketing hacks and stunts and stuff like that, and how to like make a small action make a big impact.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like that kind of rolled into shows. I started doing bigger and bigger things in that world, and eventually, you just get bored. You know what I mean? So once I moved out to California, like I wasn't hungry to go do more shows out here. You know what I mean? It was like, what's kind of the next thing?
What's the next thing? Yeah.
And I just kind of leaned into it. I started working with some tech companies because like this was like in the days of quote unquote Silicon Beach, where like Snapchat was taking over Venice. Everything was like, there was a startup every 15 feet.
Yeah.
And I worked at an agency that kind of like helped a lot of these guys either, I wouldn't say like sink or swim, but like either find themselves or realize that like maybe something was off. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And so that introduced me to like, in the entertainment world, like checks don't always come. They're not always as big as, they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Weird shit happens, Tech pays on time. It pays pretty well. You know what I mean? So like it introduced me to this whole new world. And then while I was working at the agency, I met the HighTimes guys. And that's what ended up bringing me over to there.
No shit.
Yeah. And when we met, I was just like the guy who was like, yo, have you checked out this dispensary? Have you checked out this delivery company? You know what I mean? Because I was like, still just excited. And they were like, they didn't know about, some of these spots. And so like we bonded over that, right?
Okay.
And
so no journalism prior to?
So I've been a writer forever. I actually have a journalism degree. When I was in college.
Okay. There you go.
Journalism and PR. But I would say when at the agency, what I was doing was more closer to PR and like marketing strategy, right? So like we'd be figuring out, like I worked for a bunch of data companies. This isn't really super exciting, but we were able, like that was like a good foundation for me to like understand how like a lot of this stuff like in the future was going to work, like social media and shit like that.
Yeah.
And, I wasn't really trying to get a education on data or how like, like tech worked or things like that. But it ended up kind of like I was being paid to basically learn. And like I learned then that like, oh shit, like this is like a really cool spot to be in. If I can just keep getting people to like essentially pay a check to me so that I can go figure out what's cool about them and then talk about it. You know what I mean? Back then at the agency, it was more helping them create brand positioning. Now, because I have so much time doing that and like figuring out storylines and like what's going to make people interested, writing and like, you know, like I will say I don't really call myself a journalist. I have too much reverence for that word to be like, oh, like, you know, I think journalists do a lot more than what I do. I think I'm a writer. I do mostly like opinion pieces and like people's stories, which are like interview pieces, not like necessarily research pieces.
Got you.
People who like are really going and uncovering.
So I didn't know the difference.
So, you know, like journalism is also supposed to be super fair and balanced. You know what I mean? So like it's respectfully, most publications today I have a hard time calling journalism because so much of the shit is written with slant or written to present a certain way. You know what I mean? I mean, like
a one-sided view.
A one-sided view, but it's also like playing to their base, right? Like it's like if you think about Fox News, the reason why they are as crazy Republican as they are is because that's who's watching them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
feeding the agenda.
Exactly. So like now for HighTimes, we're an entertainment publication. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be like a lifestyle thing, not like a journalistic, you know, pursuit, right?
Yeah.
So as much as we got to tell the truth and like we want to bring you stories that are interesting and engage you, like engaging you and making it interesting is really the goal, you know?
Yeah, no doubt.
Back in the day, like we had people like Hunter S. Thompson fucking write for us. You know what I mean? William Burroughs. Like
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Back in the day, bro, probably in that fucking piece behind you, I'm sure there's some fucking crazy
How fire is that
author
piece,
in
by
there.
the way?
I'll pull that piece up when we get done, and like I guarantee.
Remember that episode? That cover? Oh,
I
shit,
guarantee.
right.
I guarantee there's at least one or two like journalists in that or writers in that issue that you're like, holy shit, like that person wrote for HighTimes.
Dude.
So that's kind of the thing that like to me is like so exciting about it is like I'm not trying to be fucking I don't even know the names of any like, you know, traditional fucking journalists anymore.
No.
I'm trying to entertain you. I want like it's hard to get people to read nowadays.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It is, bro. The attention span's so low.
And it's also just like video is such a lean back experience. It makes everything so easy, right?
Yeah.
So like people
You're right.
don't want to put forth the effort of like sitting and spending 10 minutes understanding something. They want someone to just explain it to them. I joke, listen,
With video and subtitles.
exactly. Like respectfully, and like I know that this is a podcast, so I'm not trying to slight you when I say this.
Do what you got to do. And everything goes on the Good Pizza podcast.
I think that like the reason people like are really like brought like drawn to podcasts now is not because they're necessarily looking for like investigative journalism, for example.
Right.
They really just want their opinions reflected back at them, or people to show them like cool things that like they will already know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get through all the bullshit. I want to know what the best is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
That's the role of the curator. That's what really like makes media important, is like how to get things, like what stuff gets in front of you is decided by people like, you know, in roles like mine. Yeah. And, you know, respectfully, there's two ways that you can take that, because the attention span is really like people like hate. People want to chase ambulances, right?
Oh, yeah.
But because HighTimes has always been this guiding light for the industry, like to me, it's more important to like be Switzerland and be friends with everybody and like let everybody know what's dope and what's not. Like, I will say, HighTimes 50-year-old brand, right? So there are plenty of people who have all sorts of feelings about it and like shit that it used to do in the industry and whatever.
Man.
Exactly.
You changed, man.
Or like what happened at a cup fucking 10 years ago, whatever, you know?
The cups ain't the same, man.
Exactly.
You know, people just fucking every year.
People all over. But again, and listen, respectfully, it's every event, right? Like
everything 10 years ago was different.
Well, I was joking about Zalympix, bro. Like Zalympix has been around for how many years? And like people are already complaining that they've changed. Like,
bro, it's been around fucking 3 years.
They're not fucking at their full form yet.
No,
like, what are you talking about? But again, like, people just want that exhaust of talking shit.
That's
and
it,
like,
bro. So we're wired these days.
I can't really blame them, but like, what's happening is like TikTok is shortening attention spans even more. You know what I mean?
Bro.
Like,
those
people,
fucking videos.
They really can't. I don't want to say everybody, obviously, but like people like are really slowing down in their ability to like recognize like what's real and what's fake because they're not reading past headlines. So like when people talk about things like, oh, you know, like there's election interference and stuff like that, like there are people who are immediately like, no, that's not real. But like to me, I'm like, oh no, there definitely is. I just don't know if it's like intentional. You know what I mean? Like think about how many like troll pages there are out there who just like want to see the world burn and just like want to spin shit, you know?
That's it, bro.
I don't even know what I'm ranting about anymore.
No. We're ranting about journalism and your style of writing. And you know what I like?
I just feel like we've gone down a rabbit hole.
No, we're good. We're going to go out on many. I'll pull you back out. What's up, pizza fam? It's your boy JP, Good Pizza. Check this out. I've been getting a lot of questions on where I can find the fire good pizza. Check this out. We got you covered. We're in NorCal, SoCal, Central Valley, San Diego. We got you covered on the slices. Peep the list. Go check out the shop. Tell them Good Pizza sent you. Peace, love, good pizza. So what I like about your style of writing is like it's almost like a fucking a podcast. It's like a fireside chat of your thoughts.
Well, so
you know, we're like talking. It's like conversational. You remind me of because how you spill your ideas on the pad. My homegirl Rocky, Wild Nights in New York, with Rocky. She just talks about like she has comedians come on her show. And they talk about a fucking wild night in New York or like wild night wherever.
Yeah,
but it's a fucking wild night story.
Yeah.
But before that, she gives you like what's going on in her world, what's the newest, what's new, what's happening out there, what she do last weekend, and just and she's an actor and a comedian too. So like her mind is ill already. And it's like how she spills her thoughts. It kind of reminds me of you. How it's like, damn, yo, that's how we think. That's ill.
Well, so
I like that.
I will say, and again, like I said, like it's people's attention spans are so short. So
Yes,
like
bro.
the reason I write the
Yes.
way I do today is because I want you to feel like I'm talking to you. So I appreciate you saying it feels conversational because that's very much what I'm going for.
It does, bro. You nailed it.
It like, again, like if it, the problem with trying to, I don't want to say teach people, but like try and guide things, right? And actually, I'm going to tap into this with weirdos in a second. But people don't want to be like lectured. You know what I mean? They don't want someone who they feel is talking down to them.
Yeah.
But they do like it when a friend puts them on. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like that's really what I'm trying to be. Is your friend who's like not any better than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like just happens to know about this thing maybe before you do or happens to have more information and is sharing it with you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? As opposed to like, look at this very stiff article that's making all these, you know, tough claims and like you just got to trust me. You know what I mean? No listen,
doubt.
all of this shit is you got to trust me. You know what I mean? Like
up.
anytime you read anybody, but that's also kind of like and to speak to real journalism, then every real journalist or writer has their name on their shit. You know what I mean? Like you can come and find us if you have a problem or you need to sue us about something.
Yeah.
There's also this other side of the world, which is like the fake shit where they don't put people's names on it. And it's just like so designed to sow hate, you know what I mean? Or cause friction.
Definitely.
Again, there's a lot of clicks in that. People love chasing ambulances, but I don't believe that it does good things for us. Like as either as a community collectively or for individually as like for our psyches. You know what I mean? I really believe that you are what you eat, right? And I say that eating a lot of trash food all the time, but like that includes media too. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
if all you're watching is fight videos or like videos of people getting robbed or whatever, that starts to become what you think the world is. You know what I mean? And like, you know, somebody did a poll the other day that was like, do you view the world as like a beautiful place with people trying to like with hope, or like do you view it as like a terrible place that's falling apart, right? And like it was funny because it was like the way that they broke it down was a political thing. So the way they broke it down was like the different from different standpoints of like these voters felt this way. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I don't even really need to go into who felt the world was like full of hope and who was like full of hate. But like when I read that, I was like, oh no, like I electively choose to believe that the world is full of hope, that like
As
beautiful
you
things
should.
are possible, as opposed to everything is shit and it's all just getting worse. You know what I mean? Because like if that's the reality, then like we can't hope for anything better.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And if you tell yourself that your mind, how your mind works, your reticular activating system will look for proof of what you just said, and then it will only see the good things.
Exactly.
If you say the bad things, your mind will. Your mind's just doing what you tell it to
It's
do.
like when you
know
get
what
a
I'm
new
saying?
car, right? Like,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, that car is
you
everywhere.
go.
But if you're watching videos of people fighting all day, like all of a sudden, like I believe that will like manifest in your life.
Yeah.
And like I don't want that for anybody.
No way,
You know what I mean? And like, also, respectfully, I've been in that place where like I had something I was proud of and someone like shit on it, right? Like I don't want to do that to anybody.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's not
Sure.
interesting. In fact, like. My goal is to do the opposite. My goal is to, even if it's for something that not everyone loves or not like whatever, like at our cores, I believe everyone wants to be seen, right? And everyone wants, and not necessarily seen in like the limelight or whatever, but like they want to be accepted, I guess is a better way of saying it.
No doubt.
And like, you know, using the power of media to show people about someone is like a very strong tool for making them feel that way. And like, you know, I feel like if I like to call myself a light bringer, right? Like if you can like help bring more joy to the world than you did pain, then I think like that's the measure of a successful life.
Definitely, bro. Being a good human.
We just got philosophical real quick.
You
I
feel me?
got lit before I came on here. You can see it, right? Like you can tell.
John was ripping dabs down the hall before we came in. Very cool contraption. He actually drank a dab.
I did. I drank a dab before we
I
started.
don't know if you know what that means, but shit's going.
It's coming. I also did a bunch of spritzes last night, so you know I'm wearing that off.
You feel me? Yeah, I purposely didn't drink last night just because I wanted to be on point. And
Well, no, you know the spritzers.
Weekend.
You know the spritzers,
Oh,
right?
the L spritzers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Savage. And he showed up, ladies and gentlemen. God damn. So is that like a full send or is that just like a little tickle?
Let's save this for a future
cool.
one because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
that's cool.
like these guys
cool.
are. This is still early for this product. It's gonna come out, and like I want people to know what it is when we talk about it.
No doubt. Yeah, it's cool. I've been hearing, literally at only the cannabis events, somebody will whip one out. Yo, you want to spray them?
Yeah, you'll just spray
dog?
smell bubble gum in the air, and be like, "Who the fuck is spritzing?"
What is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, guy. That's
Exactly.
funny as
No
fuck.
fake terps.
No fake terms. Hell no. So, yo, I know we jumped a little.
I jumped all over the place.
But, so I'm gonna bring you back a little bit because just selfishly, you're from the East Coast. I want to talk a little bit about.
Yeah.
Tell
Oh, I
people
glazed right
about,
over
like-
my childhood. I told you, I can dodge the questions about myself as easily as
No, you're
possible.
good. You're good. Well, it's not gonna be.
Try and fast forwarded the history for you.
I won't. We don't have to necessarily dive into like your personal history, but let's just touch on like the East Coast coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like the hustle game, the weed game.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was it like back then? Because
So-
me were certainly out there doing it.
I mean, listen, I think
How is
that
it different now? Like all the shit.
I think that now it's funny because the further you into something you get, the more you realize you didn't know. So it's funny to talk about back then because like, bro, honestly, I'm on the plane pack game. And the plane pack game is that if your packs are arriving to you by air travel, they're getting fucked up in the process. We don't know the science yet, but something about the elevation or whatever is fucking up trichomes and just THC, like the psychoactive chem of the plant. So the Cali weed that I was smoking in New York that was so much better than the weed that I was getting there was a fucked up pack. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
So it's like it feels weird to celebrate that, but I will say, like, I wasn't some big time, you know, whatever. I was smoking to fund my habit, or I was dealing to fund my habit. So like, pick up an ounce, sell 3/4, you get a quarter
Smoke
type
quarter.
shit.
No
You
doubt.
know what I mean?
No doubt. So you never went real big with the packs?
The base I got was like a half pound, and it was like because I had other people who want ounces at that time.
No doubt.
You know what
You're
I
taking
mean?
orders.
But
There's
yeah,
nothing wrong. Bro, there's a place for all
no,
of it.
no. Trust
what I
me.
mean?
Trust me. That's what attracted me to Doja Pack in the first place. I was like, this is the top of the dealer pyramid. Like, this is the guy who like just like if you just keep pushing, keep hot, like this is what you could be. You know what I mean? That's why I
bro.
wanted to write that
That's a
story. It's
fact,
called
bro.
I called it the top of the dealer pyramid because it was like that was like, again, do you know the picks and axes mentality? You're from Sacramento. You should probably know
Picks
this.
and axes.
Or
I
you're
know
in
picks and
Sacramento.
shovels.
The picks and shovels, yeah. The people who
doubt.
made the money in fucking the
Yeah,
gold
like-
rush were the
There
guys who
you
sold
go.
the
Picks and
accessories.
shovels. The
right?
accessories. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my mentality with this, right? Is like there's a million ways to get into this game. And
There
they
is.
don't all involve trapping or cultivating. You know what I mean?
Facts,
Like,
bro.
listen, respectfully, I'm not trying to sound like an egomaniac when I say this. Sure.
tips, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
saying?
Exactly. Well, there's so many accessories, but let's look at how rolling has become a fucking profession. You know what I mean? There's so many ways to like be a conduit for this system.
Yes,
I
bro.
write. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. I'm not trying to sound like an egomaniac when I say like I feel like part of this ecosystem.
You are,
and
dude.
I don't transact at all.
Yeah, that bro, the Doja story is so ill because it's cool because I moved out here in 2017, so that's when like Connected started booming.
Yeah,
and I started seeing those black bags, and I started seeing Doja behind those black bags, and then my man that you was just with earlier, he was plugging them with those black bags, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to Paul and fucking, you know, and just seeing the evolution and seeing them drop the cans.
100%.
And like, and I'm a graffiti artist, so I love the logo.
The cans thing, that was a weird moment in time.
That was weird, bro.
I
fucking didn't like it.
People are still trying to do that like nitrogen sealing or whatever.
It sucks,
and like,
bro.
this is first controversial statement I'll make on the podcast.
Hit me.
I love Mylars.
Straight up.
I love Mylars, bro. I really believe even fuck Black Mylar on jars unless they're totally
fuck
full.
Black Mylar on jars,
like,
exactly. Because guess
the
what?
Mylar saves it.
This is a Grove bag. That's a Grove bag. You familiar with Grove bags?
100%, bro. I got Jimmy bags. I got Jimmy bags all day.
Feel me? Shout out to my sponsors, Grove Bags.
That's also my favorite thing.
My dogs.
Calling them Jimmy bags. Did you ever hear like condoms called Jimmy's back in the
Jimmy's,
day?
yeah.
So yeah. I got Jimmy bags.
Yeah, bro, they're the
needs
best.
them, you know?
They're the best. 5 layers, non-static, keeps your weed between 58 and 62%.
It's fucking perfect.
It's like living in a fucking bro. It's unreal.
Listen, that's controversial number 2. The things,
I know,
like,
bro.
I don't
Let's
like
talk
the way
about it.
I don't like the way it makes taste. I like
Does it fuck up the taste?
it has a weird taste to me.
No shit. I haven't used them in a while. I used to use them heavy.
I mean, I haven't used them in a while either, so maybe they got better. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You know what? Fucking, can you bleep the name of that,
Yeah, we
product?
will.
Like, I don't even want to. I don't want to talk
want
shit
no
on the
smoke,
brand
no
because
smoke.
they're nice. They're nice people. Like, I'm not
Yeah,
trying
no
to like
doubt.
whatever. And I appreciate where we're going, but like that's okay. So this is we're gonna controversial number 3.
Let's do it.
It's like the white ash conversation, right?
Oh,
like
let's talk about it.
I think that we are just adding these new metrics because we don't actually fully have the science. So I don't think that like, although we're leaning towards better indicators, that like all we're doing is creating a new indica sativa conversation, which like is inaccurate, and we all know it's bro science that we're pushing
Straight
forward.
bro science.
You know what I mean?
Some is pretty good though.
But listen, again, like that's what I mean. Like the white ash thing. So the tobacco industry spent a bunch of money, like investing in this in cigars back in the day, right? And white in the ash was actually an indicator of calcium and magnesium content, right?
Yes.
The way the ash sticks together, like you got a fucking ashtray full of like
Solid,
nice side.
yeah.
That is a better indicator of quality. The way the ash sticks together. Structure
versus
and actually
color.
how it shrinks is are these are the indicators that they found that like indicate a good cigar, right?
Nice.
So our science probably isn't that much different. None of our guys have millions of dollars to spend on studying that right now.
Bro.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying we're gonna have this shit immediately, but I am saying, and I've done this in the last 3 podcasts I've been on. If you are a scientist or you're still in college, get your school to do some sort of scientific study, maybe about plain packs. I think that's a great thesis.
Plain
You
packs.
should, you should. I'm telling you, in fucking 10 years, we're gonna be like plain packs are gonna be a thing. But number 2, maybe it's just about the fucking other psychoactive chem that's in the plant. Like, there's so much we don't know, and I say this with respect because we are inching closer, but like terpenes aren't the full answer either. Like, there's so much other shit that's in this plant that like, again, we're creating these new solutions to a problem that we still don't actually understand.
Yes, fact.
You know? So that's where, if you are like, I am not a scientist. If you know some, please, let's get that. Let's help us all. I'll write about it. You do it, I'll write about it. I promise.
Yeah,
I
bro.
promise.
He got you.
This is a live promise right now.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Like, so you know, shout out to Proper Doinks. They do the bracket with the Zalympix, and they do mids busters. If your weed is more than $500 an ounce, they're gonna smoke your shit on their show, and you gotta pay for Patreon to see it. But you will see blood if there's gonna be blood.
Oh,
You
no.
know what I'm
And
saying?
listen, I will say, like, first of all, I like those guys, and like I like the way that like I don't hate the methodology of the smoke, the way it smokes is important, because I do think that's important.
Yeah.
But I also, like, to me, fundamentally, the most important thing is the effect. So, like,
So you're an effect. So they go off of smoke. You go off of effect. I'm both. I'm a mix.
I'm a mix too, but like we got to remember, we only started smoking for flavor like 10 years ago. Right. Like before that, it wasn't possible.
Less for me,
right?
bro.
Exactly.
Less for me.
Before that, it wasn't possible. So like the idea that like that's the only thing that matters is, like, to me, just not the whole picture. Like this is a medical product. This shit was about helping people eat or sleep or whatever. And like whether or not most of us want to acknowledge it, like weed has therapeutic effects for us. That's why we do it all the time. You know what I mean? Like I wake and bake because like it calms me down. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like losing my shit. Like you guys see how fucking ranty and all over the place I get. Like if I don't fucking cool it a little bit, I'll never get anything fucking done.
I got one rolled up for you here, buddy. I'm gonna torch it up for you.
Let's get that.
I'm gonna get her cooking for you.
Which one's this?
We got Fugazi, the new batch.
Oh, hell yeah.
Very nice. Shout out to Cadre Verde. It's the only constant I have in my life, folks. Fugazi never lets me down. We haven't had a bad batch yet, knock on wood.
No, I'm a fan.
She's struck fucking blowing, bro. And everybody seems to fuck with it. But yeah, so they got through this last Zalympix box and they noticed, okay, everybody's got the white ash thing down now. But not all of it was smoking, flavorful, and shit like that. So back to your point. And everybody's point when this comes up, it's not everything.
Well, this is so now that I actually do feel, and this is part of the reason why I don't feel bad saying things like that now, is like I feel like we've kind of moved past specifically the white ash conversation.
Thank God, bro.
So that's why it's not like people recognize that it's not the only indicator, right? But the reason why I don't want to say anything about that, or I won't publish an article about like, hey, we got to stop talking about white ash because it's these things, is because if people really believe that white ash is what people want to see, then they'll just start mag loading and cow loading their plant.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that does to people. I don't know what repercussions that has. So I'm not going to encourage people to do something that, like, again, okay, I'm gonna, polarizing number 4 or 5, wherever we're at. Living soil, great, right? But you can fuck that up way more easily than you can in rock wool and a bunch of other shit, right?
You can't amend it.
Exactly. So while it's great when it's done right, it's much, much harder to do right.
Or harder to amend, I should say.
Well, it's hard. Again, the whole process is harder. It's not like it's I guess it's not hard. The only part that's not harder is that like you don't have to replace the soil every time.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah, bro. Fucking. Yeah, that shit's wild, bro.
I realized I was holding this for 2 seconds and it was going out, so.
No, you're good, man. Do your thing, pimp.
All right, what were we talking about?
So, well, we went off on another one.
I'm telling you, bro.
So,
I can't. You said you were gonna keep me on track.
No,
but
I will.
I cannot be contained.
You cannot be trusted. So, all right. So we touched on the East Coast. Let's talk about kind of what we were talking about earlier. Before
we skip East Coast, I do want to say, I think the East Coast loves East Coast shit.
Yes, bro. That's
where
I want to go.
Specifically, yeah.
That's where I want to go.
New York specifically is a very FUBU mentality. For us, by us. We want our shit, right? And they're also not dumb. They've been focused on what's been happening in the California market and who's been hot and not. So like a bunch of these brands that are like trying to make this play on New York because they don't really have shit popping in California anymore.
Part. Ooh, that's a big one.
They're gonna see through that. You know what I mean? Not only are they gonna see through that, like they know. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that like all of us are trying to introduce them to whatever, but I think as soon as some of these brands, like you look at a brand like Gotti, like they're already like producing solid work that like is comparable, and so like that's why they're fucking got such a big audience so quickly. You know what I mean? Because it's not California. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Not that it's not California, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, shout out to Gotti, the Gotti brand.
I'm not trying to push Gotti out of California and not say that there's not allegiance here too, you know?
Yeah, he's very tapped in both sides. Both sides, he does good work. Definitely does good work and align himself with the right people, for sure.
100%.
And shout out to the Gotti brand, my other sponsor.
There you go. Oh, really? I didn't. I look at that fucking.
Yeah, you see the bags? You see the bag? You know what
I know, but I just thought these were homies. I didn't realize they were these.
No, that's my guy, man. That's my guy.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. We hit both the sales points.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So super organically.
No, you don't have. Bovita's not a sponsor, are they?
No, they're not. They're not.
Just teasing.
I would have did the mini commercial. Bovita, if you're out there and you want to throw a couple Fazuls my way, I ain't mad at you.
He doesn't taste the difference.
I don't taste the difference. I don't. I haven't used y'all in a while though, cause we get the packs real fresh.
We're just fucking around. We're just
fucking breaking balls. It's all good, man. 2 East Coasters just breaking balls.
This is what we do. I feel like everyone gets so butthurt about joke. Like, first of all, like 99% of the time, I'm joking about
Yeah, man.
anything that I say that like is off color is because I think it's funny. It's
No
not
doubt.
because I ever mean any of these things.
Yeah,
or whatever. I
man.
mean, no, that's not true. That's not true. I do feel that way about like these things. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pretend I don't.
So, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the 420 movement out in New York now? How you feel about that? I'm loving it, by the way.
It's crazy, bro. It's
crazy
crazy
as
because
fuck,
like
dog.
Washington Square Park, you used to get like so the first year we did it, the cops, like when we started like arriving, the cops literally just walked out of the park, like
Yeah.
literally and figuratively looked the other way.
Straight
and
up.
like it was like a wow, like the times have really changed.
We out here.
But this past year, like it was insane. There was people. There were 3 rows of vendors.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Inside of the circle.
Yes,
There was a
bro.
row of vendors people couldn't access, but they were still there with their tables trying to sell
Yes,
shit.
bro.
Like
Yes,
it was just a wild time. And
It's
like
so cool.
New York has an energy that like it really like. Listen, honestly, I'm old now. I'm 33 years
Mm-hmm.
old. Like not like super old, but like I'm older than the 4 a.m. nights every night. You know what
For
I mean?
sure. Same.
And still, when I go back to New York, I can't help it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
bro.
let's go get something
So
to eat at
regular.
2 o'clock in the morning. You know what I
Regular.
mean?
So regular. And I think that's what a lot of California really, outside of like, oh, it's a great place to market your brand. Let's be real, if you're popping in New York, you could really catch a wave out here just off that, and vice versa. But
I think that
I
actually,
feel like they love the energy of New York, bro.
I actually think that to that point, you're going to see that a lot more the next few years of like the New York guys that are popping in Cali as opposed to the Cali guys that are popping in New York. Because again, like to Gotti's point, like you can make allegiances and be in the rec market in California too,
Exactly.
while still being a New York brand. You know what I mean? The same
Definitely.
way like Alien Labs is a California brand, but they're in Florida. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like they're still,
exactly.
they have other markets. That's expansion, scale. It's
Yeah,
part
man.
of
It's a
growing.
beautiful thing. That's part of the plan, man. And
This is delicious.
oh, thanks, man. Thank you, Cadre. Shout out
Wait.
to the team, man.
Thank you, Cadre.
I gotta bring you over. Have you been in the Cadre
I was
Verde
with
episode?
Cadre yesterday, bro.
Who am I fucking with?
I was hanging
You
with them
already know.
literally yesterday.
Nice, bro.
I did that like a tour of that whole.
Oh, that's who Casey was
Fucking
talking to. I seen
facility.
Casey's video, but I didn't see who he was talking to.
Oh,
You know what I'm
I didn't
saying?
even know he
talking about
posted
some
video.
packs or some shit.
Oh,
Or how he was curing. Maybe it's somebody else. I don't fucking know.
I don't
Secret
even
Session
know.
crew.
Oh, the Secret Session crew was there. Pulled up when I was there.
When you was there, okay, got you.
I saw Carter, and then I went to
Nice.
see
yeah.
Cadre, and then I went to see Green Dog, and then
Nice,
I went
bro.
to see Yellow Brick Group yesterday.
Have you seen Green Dog's new joint? This D6.
I haven't seen D6. I've seen D1. Ooh,
Sour Dub. Yeah, you're definitely leaving some of that, my friend. I got this for the sour heads, bro.
this is fucking
That's
delicious.
special, bro. You want me to
I'll
borrow
be
you up
honest-
one of those?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I really like the sour dub crosses. I know, like,
Dude,
okay,
so good, bro.
This is a
Got
fun
that
one.
sour grease on it.
I don't think I've said this live before.
Oh, shit.
You know the statement, hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
So I believe hindsight is rose colored, right? And like
Hindsight
you
is
just
what?
rose colored, like you know rose
Rose-colored.
colored glasses, like you look through and it's like better than it actually is.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that's what's happening with a lot of these like OG strains is like everyone's
Yeah.
like nostalgia is so high that like respectfully, as much as I like want them there to be real sour diesel again,
Yeah.
I think that we've all created this thing in our head that's so unattainable that there'll
Yeah.
never be that in our heads real sour diesel
Yeah,
again.
that we got diet sour now.
But that doesn't mean we can't appreciate diet sour. You know what I mean?
I love this shit, bro.
That's so like that.
Love
That's
it.
my point. Sour dub. I feel like some people kind of like give it like it's not the real thing. Like yeah, that's why it's called something different. But it's amazing.
Right. Look, I'll shout out everybody I think has like close to the real sour, or maybe it was the real sour. We're just dealing with genetic drift.
Genetic drift
Greasy
or like
Couture,
listen.
sour waves.
The other thing to keep in mind, sour waves. I haven't smoked it, but it did smell fucking incredible.
Yeah, bro. It's
The thing that I will also say keep in
It's
mind
dope.
is we're using today's technology to grow something from 13 years ago or however
That
long
too.
ago, right?
That
So that's like, think about how indoor flower has changed over the last few years,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's almost like devolving to a place of like doesn't need the same
inputs.
not only the same inputs, like it's being, and that doesn't need the same. That's the wrong way of framing it. It's being the cultivators need more scale than they need quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
They're
yeah.
more focused on
Yeah.
like, and actually, so
And that's a real statement. Yeah.
I'm gonna tap into this in a second. But Lance Blackleaf did a piece for us at Weirdos, about how the grow conversation has changed. Like grow gear has changed over the last 10, 15 years from grow more resinous, more delicious, chirpy plants to grow more perlite, grow bigger, grow bulkier. You know what I mean?
That's fact.
And that has downstream effects that we can't think of. Same thing as THC percentage, right? Like now anybody in the know knows that THC percentage is not a potency metric, right?
No, fuck
But
no.
retail consumers who've been smoking for decades, who now have been using this system for the last, couple years, now believe that they're educated and they need to smoke 41% because
those 30s.
Exactly. If we smoke 23, I won't get as high. I've been smoking for 25 years. You know what I mean? Like, great, bud. But like what you're actually misunderstanding is like, you ever smoke a distillate vape pen? You know why you don't like that? It's because it's all THC. So why the fuck would you want a plant that's mostly THC?
There you go.
You know what I mean?
I'm looking at the terpene content.
So that's what I started to say earlier. It's the terpene content, because we don't know all of this shit. The psychoactive, like, so the skunk smell? You know the skunk smell?
Yes.
That's not a terpene. That's a,
Really?
I don't remember if it's an ether or a thiol or something like that, but it's like, it's not a terpene. That's why it burns off quicker too. So like you won't really be able to see skunk in the retail market because of how quickly it evaporates, right? You need to see skunk fresh if you really want
skunk
that
was always
pungent.
super sticky and fucking impossible to deal with.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
you're right.
it gets old fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. God, weed was just so stickier back then, man. On my come up.
That's also like respectfully to the conversation about white ash. I find that the stickier something is, it doesn't usually burn
Pitch white.
Yeah. And like that's like to me that's a more important indicator of quality, or fucking this is gonna fuck me up, than this is burning white.
Yeah, no doubt. I just want the shit to taste good, not burn my throat, and just let that flavor last through the fucking whole doink.
That's
man.
another
or
thing.
At least 75% of the doink.
The throatiness and the way it scratches your throat versus like the pressure it provides, like that's another important quotient.
Definitely.
Of like, like if
Definitely.
you're coughing because it hurts your throat versus you're coughing because it's real pressure. You know what I mean? There's
hurts
too
so
much,
good.
There's so much shit that's coming in that your lungs are expanding.
Yeah,
You know?
you're choking, pal.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, bro. Fuck yeah.
You're choking, not irritated.
Exactly. And there's a difference. And, you kind of, after, it's like I always knew these things, but like when I started chilling with Proper, they kind of break it down for me and tell me what to look for as I'm smoking. That's why I really started picking up on this shit. Like, damn, bro. And then, growing up on the East Coast, smoking whatever you get your hands on for most of your life, it's like, fuck.
Well, that's the like.
Wasn't paying attention to none of this.
That's the funny part about it to me, and what I've said earlier about like looking back and like we knew nothing back then. You know what I mean? But like, as much as things change, things stay the same. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And like the culture is like, it feels smaller than it used to be. You know what I mean? Like the world is smaller type
The world
shit.
did get smaller, yeah.
But it's also bigger than ever before. You know what I mean? Like there are more people everywhere doing these things. I got people in states all the time who hit me up that like I've never been to, that like are like, oh my God, you got to check out like what's going on in Montana. Like
Montana.
I didn't know Montana had a scene.
No
You know what I
idea.
mean? Like realistically, it makes sense. There are people in Montana. Some of them got to be smoking weed. You know what I mean? But like I didn't
Find
know.
out Montana needs some packs.
Bro, I'm sure.
Let me
Actually,
find out.
I will say there's a kid out there called Funk Farm. He's got some cool shit.
Nice, bro. Any notable
Shout out to
growers?
Tanner.
Shout out to Tanner, man.
Any notable growers?
In New York that
in
we
New
should
York?
know about, or Jersey?
So honestly, I haven't seen much work from Jersey, but the last time I was back in New York, I mean, listen, bro, there's a lot of good work in New York. The problem is, it's just like, they're still dialing shit in. You know what I
No
mean?
doubt.
Like, I
Of
don't
course,
think that like,
respectfully.
yeah, exactly. It's still early for them. Look at how long it took Oklahoma to start producing anything reasonable. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no
I don't know.
doubt,
I don't
no
know if
doubt.
most people even see those packs, but you know, like,
no, bro. No.
So, in New York, there's some guys I'll shout out. I like Foos Flowers. I have some of his shit at home that I'm.
Oh, nice.
I'm a
I've
big
heard of
fan
them. I've never had their flower.
Yeah, his Zazul is really good, and he's got a lemon something that was like I really liked. How the Higher Empire guys, shout out the Higher Empire guys.
No doubt.
Hooking up some of that. Marijuana Talk, is doing some cool shit.
Yeah, I'm in talks with him. They're cool people, man.
They're good kids.
Yeah.
That's some Long Island grown. That's like
Hell
really
yeah.
like some homegrown shit.
Great name too, by the
Yeah,
way. I see
bro,
what y'all did there.
Not only that, like
You know what I'm
they're
saying?
fucking. Have you seen the logo where they take Long Island and make it into the weed leaf?
No, I have not.
It's really
I gotta
fire.
peek that.
It's really
That's
fire. It's just like each of the leaves, just the Long Island logo repeat or like outline repeating to look like a weed leaf. And
okay, got
it's
you,
cool.
got you. The
Who else
mechanics.
did I say? Oh yeah, the Mechanics Farm.
Mechanics
he's
Farm,
dope.
fire.
I don't know why I didn't think
Shout out
of
to
him.
him.
He's the stuff that he's doing with Doja is really
Sick,
fucking
bro.
dope.
Legend.
I don't know why I
coming on
can't
the show
think of
soon.
anything. I'm fucking stoned as shit, so like it's also
cool.
asking me. My memory recall is not going to be great.
Oh,
right
it's
now.
good. It's good. It's all good.
But actually,
shout out.
I talked about the Lance doing the Weirdos piece, so I feel like I should mention that.
Let's talk about weirdos.
Weirdos is kind of like, so
Love
you see how we rant and we fucking go, or I rant and go all over the place.
Yeah.
Started doing Weirdos as a way for us to kind of like talk about the things that were like not news, but like are problems, right? So like it's a way for like talking about THC percentage being bullshit, or like we've been having this open conversation about indica and sativa being for dummies.
Yeah.
That was Jimmy wrote a piece called Indica and Sativa are for Dummies, and it's basically like he provided some potential solutions.
Okay.
And then I provided a response that was like, those solutions are dumb. How about
no
these
shit.
solutions? And like again,
Is this
like
a HighTimes battle?
like, that's honestly like the reason why we did it is to kind of have like a live argument, right?
Okay.
Like thought it would be like it would be fun.
But friendly. You guys are homies.
No, bro, he
Yeah,
saw the
you
article
guys are
before it went
bros.
up, of course. I was like, like
no doubt.
I got nothing
Love
but love
that.
for Jimmy. So we did that, and then Todd McCormick hit me up, and he was like, hey, can I write a response? And like his whole thing is like, when flower is harvested in the cycle will dictate whether or not it's more stimulating or more sedating. You know what I mean? So like these things, we say indica sativa, but also like when was it harvested? You know what I mean? Like that's almost just as important for like a lot of effect-based stuff. So the point of this and Weirdos is not that we necessarily have specific solutions, but more to start conversations. And so like most recently, I released a piece last Friday that was called Why We Hate Cops. And the headlines are always grabbers, right?
Bro.
Intentionally.
Jesus.
But like, if you read the piece, like my point is not necessarily that like I think I hate all these individuals or like I want pain for these individuals. It's that I hate this institution, and these individuals are the representatives of that, right?
Yeah.
And yes, they are the tools of oppression that are out there arresting and beating. And again, my fundamental point with this piece is like, if these guys are supposed to hold everyone to the law, then they have to stop breaking them. Like if it becomes they will follow all the laws and that's how they will enforce on all of us, then like, again, I understand there'll be situations where like we need a SWAT team because some people will have a gun or something like that. Like it will require, but the system that we have is broken. And that's why our community feels so adamantly against what's been happening. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like how many families have been ripped apart for this plant? How many communities of color have been over policed and like nothing got better? You know what I mean? In fact, people just went to jail and shit got worse.
Exactly.
Like these are not solutions to problem, and we don't actually live in a free society that we just keep fucking jailing people. But like, again, some of the idea and the reason why we throw the catchy headline in there is like there's so many people that like saw that headline and jumped in the comments and were like, no we don't, or like I love cops, or like, you know, like we'll throw some thinly veiled racism.
A cop, my best friend's a cop, you know, whatever.
The very first section of the article is like, I know what people are going to say to this. Is my brother, my father, my whatever is a cop. They're not all bad, you'll say.
For sure.
And you're right. I'm not saying that. But I'm about to say is here's a list of shit that police do that are bad. And if your brother or father or cousin or whatever is not doing anything to make these things better and is just like kind of looking the other way while they happen, he's part of the problem.
It's called conspiracy.
And like, exactly.
It's like how we get whacked with
exactly,
you know
right?
saying?
And like, listen, not to be a dick about it, I'm not saying that they need to all go to jail or anything like that, but like, honestly, to me, if you were a fucking police officer and you saw the way this shit was going, the answer is you quit. You go find something else to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I understand that like there are a lot of people who feel like that's like once you sign that fucking or get that check or put on that badge, that's a forever, it's over, you lost, you can't be part of this community. But to me, that's the right answer. See the problems with the machine and leave.
Yeah.
Because the odds of people actually changing the system are very slim.
There's some
and if
cool
all the
ex-cops.
Listen, there's some cool ex-cops, but also
Cool ex-cops.
Ex-cops, 100%. But also, if all of the cops left tomorrow, and also, listen, if we think about the response to like the ACAB shit, like they basically don't, a lot of them don't do anything anymore. You know what I mean? Like they're intentionally like doing less to like teach us a lesson because we all said they were assholes.
That's how you want us to police.
Like, no, you know what? Actually, you're proving the fucking point. You know what I mean? Like, you're not using that time to make things better. You're dicking on your phones and pulling people over for fucking bullshit reasons. You know what I mean? You're going in the South, they're arresting people for weed while they smoke weed on their breaks. You know what I mean?
Sure,
like,
bro, come on now.
That's the type of shit that like I think is unforgivable. And like, again, while I can never forgive for those mistakes, I do think that like people's life goes on and people make bad choices and we can't demonize people forever, even if we always remember the mistakes they made, you know?
Right. Well, my friend, that is a great segment into my next question. Segue to my next question. What are your thoughts on the whole Catalyst versus Glass House shit going on right now?
Respectfully, I think that picking a fight with money is a dangerous idea. And I worry for Catalyst because I don't think they have fully thought through the repercussions of how this might come back to bite them in the ass. Not just, you know, potentially legally or whatever, but with the community. You know what I mean? Like, settling things in court is not really the way that we do things. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. And shit happens. And I'm like, I don't really hold that against him. What I do think is silly, though, is trying to pull apart publicly justified numbers for a publicly traded company. Like, there are teams of accountants who have made sure those numbers are solid.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That was not the way to make your point. You know what I mean? And listen, again, like, I watched the fucking First Smoke podcast. Like,
Did you see that episode? Has it dropped yet?
It's on their website.
Okay, gotcha.
But their thing, like, I don't know, in the episode, like, they asked them about burner distros, and they were like, we don't know what burner distros are. Like, we sell our product, and then, like, wherever it goes, that's where it goes.
Hey,
but, like,
what are you gonna do?
We're the cultivator, and, like, that's fucking right. That's true.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But a lot of those cultivators know when those burner licenses come in. Hey, we doing it? What license we doing it on?
Well, so, and listen,
you doing it on yours?
I'm not saying that there aren't buyers who take stuff and then go do illegal stuff with it.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? But like, can that stick against the person who's the cultivator who sold it legally? You know what I mean? Like, those are the kind of questions that like I ask myself. And like, again, like, I don't really want to start a fight with somebody who has the resources to make me disappear.
Oh yeah, disappear. Yeah.
Like, I don't mean that. I just mean like I don't think
big money.
I don't think that like any of these guys are like.
Okay, I didn't know where you're going with
this. Listen, I will say like that sounds bad because people
disappear.
Yeah, but like people fucking like also like in today's world like everything's so polarizing. Like when I say something like that, they're like, oh yeah, like they'll fucking like it's human trafficking or something like that. Like no, that's not what I mean. I just mean like you'll like your life will be like irreparably fucked up because of in ways that you don't think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you like people who have made people a lot of money, that's they have good friends. Like at the end of the day,
that's a fact.
They have good friends, and like I'm not saying. Okay, this is a bigger issue that I think us trying to police who can and cannot be in the industry is an equally problematic thing.
So who do we let in? Who do we let out? Or is that even our job? If you're in?
I think that's an ego statement. I think
there's
saying
ego in there,
this person can't be here is like not paying attention to like business realities. Now, acknowledge when I say that, I am not saying to do business with those people. I'm saying you vote with your dollar. If you morally don't believe in something somebody's doing, you don't do business with them. But also, like when you think about like what the big money guys are doing, like they're trying to grow a bunch of mids for cheap, right? Yeah. Like that's good, but no one that I care about is competing in that market. No, you know what I mean? I am not interested in transacting in things that like are $100 pounds. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There are people though who like that's the reality of their life. You know what I mean? Where like, and not sound like an asshole with that. Like I couldn't afford to. Let's say that clearly. I could not afford to smoke this way if I didn't get the blessings that I do from the community and like the people that I'm writing about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's also market research. Like I get
Yeah.
so much weed from people who I don't write about. You know what I mean? And like that, like most people think like, oh, like you give John an eighth and he'll like write a story about you. Like, fuck no. Like
Right.
I'm writing stories because I think there's something interesting that like at the end of the day, I'm not writing for me. I'm not writing for you. I'm writing for our audience. I got to write for the people who are coming to read it.
Exactly.
If you're just some guy on the street who like has never heard of HighTimes, it doesn't matter what you want to hear. And I say that with all due respect because like I don't dislike you and I don't not care about your opinion, but you're not one of my customers. You know what I mean?
That part.
So like with that mentality, like if all of the people who I'm interested in who are doing things that I think are important are like market leaders, you know what I mean? Who are like pushing limits and all sorts of stuff like that. Who cares what the fucking bottom 10% is doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that too.
I will
That
say
too.
I do try and keep in mind, and I believe HighTimes is for everybody, right? So like I try and keep in mind, like I was a poor kid growing up. So like I want the poor kids who are reading this publication or reading what I write to also have something that they can access. So I will I not consider, like I do write about, even in the cop list of like, these are cheap brands that you should fuck with. You know what I mean? Like these guys, I don't know how they have this weed this great at this fucking cheap, but if you want a dope fucking $100 ounce, these are the guys to fuck with.
Let's touch on that
So,
list. That's fucking
I
fire, by the way.
That I don't have a list of people that I want to shout out for
No,
that.
no, what is the cold cop list for the audience?
Oh, okay. Let me just say this first.
Yeah.
I don't have a list of brands that like I think specifically are right now like this is the low end winner. You know what I mean, or anything like
no
that.
doubt.
But I think that part of the market is so condensed and so like people are like competing in that space so much that like that consumer who's coming in budget conscious, going most bang for their buck, they're not coming into the store and saying, oh, I want this pack stone ounce every time. They're saying, what's on clearance? They're saying, what's the special? Where's the biggest bang for the buck?
Yeah.
Expecting brand loyalty from those guys who are just trying to get as high as they can for the money they've got is like, we're not a Coke and Pepsi audience. We have way too many choices. And like, because of that, some people might just continuously not ever align. You know what I mean? Just bounce around. But then you look at a brand like Alien Labs, like there's so much lore that you can get lost in. You know what I mean?
Good.
So like, not every brand can do that. You know what I mean? Because not every fan wants to do that with an audience, right? But if the brand owner thinks that kind of stuff through and has that type of stuff ready, they develop something that's just a more full package and create something that like everybody wants a piece of. You know what I mean? Because of that, like that feeds the rest of the ecosystem. So you say like, what is the cop list? The cop list is my way of co-signing these brands that I think are doing things that are worth paying attention to. And listen, there are so many people out there. There are so many brands in the space. Every time a new state comes online, fucking 50 more brands come with it. You know what I mean? And like when I say 50, that's like 50 of the 1,000 that will grow, 50 are going to be dope and like actually be around for a while. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't even say dope, but I would say like become the names, you know? I get so, like I said before, I get so much product, right? Like I genuinely will post something on Instagram when I get it, especially if someone sends me like some over the top package. Like I can't not
you're good about that.
Acknowledge it and like say thank you, but like the problem was like I was getting gifts, I was posting them on social, and kids were responding and being like, "Hey, I bought this, you know, whatever, because I saw it on your story. Yeah, it's not that dope." And I was like, well, yeah, they sent it to me for free. I didn't buy it. I definitely didn't tell you to buy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that part.
The cop list is my like, yo, if you're looking for buys, these are the buys right now. You know what I mean? And like, also, again, all this shit happens at such a quick pace, and like with whatever, like I'm not like, it's the cop list is new stuff, but it's new to me. You know what I mean? Which I will say, we're in California. The shit that's new for us might not hit other states for a couple years.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
But there are plenty of people in this state who, like, by the time I see what's happening in Sacramento, they're like, oh, we're, 3 strains down from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That said, I believe that there's enough light for everybody, and that, like, my job is just to keep turning the spotlight. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, I might be a little bit late on something, but I found out about it, and I think it's dope. So
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. It's okay with
Dude,
me.
that's super helpful, man, because people are trying to buy the right bags, bro. It's like there's so much out there. There's so much
Well, and
Reebok.
there's so
many
much hype.
brands. There's so much
Exactly.
hype, you know what I'm saying?
I was talking with your friends at Cadre about that yesterday. It was
Yeah.
like they were growing LCG and runs.
Yeah.
And I made a joke to them, but I was like, I wasn't giving them shit, but I was like, you gotta, you know what I mean?
You gotta.
And they were like, yeah. And like, you know, they're like, you know, it's mostly like, that's like mostly wholesale. You don't do a ton of that in our jars. And I was like, yeah, so that somebody can take it and call it white cherry and fucking, you know,
whatever
put a new, you know, label on it and call it a new strain. They were like, yeah. I was like, actually, you got 2 options for them to do that with. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. And that last batch of LCG, I don't know if they gave you it, is hands down one of the best ones.
Oh, no,
I've
it's
had,
delicious.
bro.
I was actually saying this to
shit,
them
bro.
yesterday, but there's something, I don't know if it's their newts or what. There's like a certain texture to like a Cadre flower.
There is,
that like,
bro.
It's like almost adds like a little bit of menthol to the nose, and like I really like it.
Me too.
I grew up, you know, smoking Newports, so like that's like it kind of like it's like it
like that
it hits me in a
Fugazi,
special
bro.
way.
It's got this something on the background.
Exactly. Like it's a little bit. I was saying this about like some gas strains earlier, but gas, like OG, everyone's crazy about OG.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's good weed, right? But like if it doesn't have a little bit of texture to it, like the reason we love good colognes or perfumes is because like, yes, there's something sweet, but there's also a little bit of funk to it. You know what I mean?
Bro.
There's something that like also kind of like repulses you. Like
this is abrasive.
I am far more interested in the repulsion than I am in like the don't get me wrong. During the day, moneymaker. During the day, I'm like, I like to smoke sweet. I want fruity. I want Skittles. I want whatever. But at night,
bro.
like, offend me.
I want some funky ass gas.
Oh, this is dope.
Bro, that shit smells like. At first, I was like, it smells like feet and kush. And then my boy was like, nah, yo, that shit smell like them piss pads. A clean piss pad as soon as you put it in a urinal. I'm like, oh my God.
It does have that, but it also.
But it's something else too. Yo, that shit is fire. Shout out to Sense, man.
There's
The
like
homies.
it's like something slightly sour. Like
They
I don't
got-
know if
yeah,
it's
there's
like
some
bad
sour.
dishwater or something like that. You know what I mean?
It's offensive, like you said.
Exactly. But that's what it's supposed to be. Like that's how like you craft. Like listen, it's the same
bro.
way. It's the same way with stories, bro. If there's
Yeah.
not something that like some kind of pushback that the hero of the story needs to accomplish,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know
for
what
sure,
I mean?
For sure.
That's why every movie has a villain or like
Of course.
has like some sort of like giant problem that they're fucking accomplishing.
Exactly.
So like
bro.
it a lot of these things are similar in, you know, they transfer throughout life.
And I'll
You
tell you
just got to
what,
pay attention
talking about late night, you want that gas, bro. I almost didn't go out last night.
because the money
'Cause I
maker.
smoked this, bro. I smoked the shit after dinner, hanging with my little man in the backyard, and I'm just like, yo, what the fuck, bro? And I don't get like that ever. And it's crossed with 2 things I've never even heard of, which is even more exciting. I'm like, oh, this has nothing to do with anything that's out there.
Well, that's the thing, bro. You got to be different.
It's
too.
so
Like,
cool. They took a chance, and this shit's fire, bro. I would white label this shit in a
I
second.
will say, actually, so I said this, you got to be different, and then I did say kind of something contradictory to someone else yesterday. So I'm gonna clarify the statement because I think both these things are true, but I do think that like, it's different. I think in order to make a brand and be out there in the market, you have to be different. Having new genetics, having something that everyone else is doing, like you need to zig when the market zags. But if you're in a competition, you need your prettiest smeller.
There you go.
That's
There you
the
go.
prettiest, and she's got to smell. If you don't hit all the if she doesn't hit all the dots, she's not going to stand a chance.
No, she won't. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break.
Let's get it.
All right. What's up, guys? Just want to take a quick second to shout out my sponsors over at Grove Bags. Listen, Grove Bags are hands down the best way to store your cannabis. Forget jars, forget Mylars. Nobody does it like Grove Bags. Listen, it's a 6-layer, non-static bag. State-of-the-art technology. It's going to keep your weed fresher for longer. It keeps your cannabis between 58 and 62% humidity at all times, the optimal humidity to store cannabis. It's going to increase your shelf life, help prevent mold, weight reduction. Hands down, it's the best product out there. We don't use anything but Grove Bags at Good Pizza. And especially if your product is in stores, we all know there's some shelf life issues at the stores. This is going to keep your product lasting longer on those shelves. So when your customer goes to try it, it's going to be fresh cannabis. Listen, if you want to store your cannabis the proper way, use Grove Bags. Use promo code PIZZA with 3 Z's. That's PIZZZA. Tell them Good Pizza sent you. My next question was, you had a very profound post. We'll call it a post.
Oh.
After the Emerald Cup.
Okay.
And I loved how you put that and what part of the game that was right now. And would you care to elaborate on that at all?
So I will say, I think that like I want to start by saying the same way I did last time.
Please do.
This is not about the individuals. It's not about the brand. And I think that like that's the thing that a lot of people kind of got lost in. Is like, yeah, fuck those guys. Fuck the specifics of that party. Like, I don't care. That's like so not it. It's more the idea that like we just aren't helping ourselves. We're not supporting those who need us. We're supporting the flossy shit. You know what I mean? And that's like kind of the nature of the world right now. Like everything is like, no, but like everyone's poor because they're buying fucking new cars and all this shit, you know, whatever. They'll be renting, but like, you know, they'll have the like jewelry and shit like that. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not trying to sound better than anybody. I fucking rent. You know, whatever. But like, you're supposed like, Instagram has fucked up our mentality of like what we're all supposed to have. So like when you hear there's somebody who spent $500,000 on a party and like, oh, it's gonna be like fucking like craziest shit ever, and you know, whatever. Really? Supposedly, I if they did, they way overspent. Fucking, they were in Santa Rosa, bro. Right, bro. They could have shut down the town for $500,000. You know what I mean? So I don't think that that's really what they spent. But they had a bunch of artists on it, shit like that. They had like a DJ from Vanderpump Rules, which is like some fucking housewife show, and Lil Xan performed. Which I don't got any beef with Lil Xan. I'm not trying to the specifics of the party don't matter as much to me as the fact that like there's other things that like are true to the culture that like we should be doing right now. You know what I mean? And like, I will say I didn't recognize that until that day. I've done that, made that mistake so many times. But that's also why, like, to the point I said earlier about, like, wanting to help educate without making people feel like, you know, we're talking down to them or, like, whatever. Like,
no doubt.
That's the point. Like, again, and this sounds silly, but, like, if you think about what my quote-unquote character is in this space, like, what I'm trying to do is be your friend that helps you understand when you're fucking up. You know what I mean? And I don't mean necessarily when you're fucking. I mean this specific example. Like, that's not like my ethos. But the shit that I'm doing, like with that specifically, is like I want all of us to see this in a different perspective. Because again, I get it's flashy. I get we like open bars. I get like, you know, you want to see the lasers. There's not anything wrong with any of that. The problem is a lot of lasers. Yeah. The problem is our guys don't have the money to spend like for that right now. And instead of like letting them, like most of them are now sitting out because they know that they're going to be outspent, you know what I mean? But the ones that aren't, like, they don't have the money to lose, and we're still going and doing the flashy rich kid shit. So like, again, I can't force anyone else's hand, but like, if that's the thing, especially if I know that you saw or engaged the piece, if that's the thing that you choose to do going forward, like, I do think less of you. And I'm not saying that because, like, you know, I'm trying to be judgy or anything like that. But, like, I think it's a shitty fucking time in this industry. I think people are hurting really, really badly. And there are some people who are winning. There are people who are taking advantage of others, people who are, like, you know, taking advantage of investors and shit like that. And, like, I don't think those are the people that we should be celebrating. And, like, we can, again, to the point of, like, vote with your dollar, like, let them have the party. I don't care. I'm not trying to be like, they can't do that shit, whatever. Just your choice is to go. Your choice is whether or not you're going to be in pictures there, whether or not you're going to be seen as someone who's supporting this brand's move and whatever. Because the second you walk into any of those places, they are filming you and they are allowed to use you in the sizzle reel and make it seem like you're like whatever. Like, actually, the funniest part about that post was like the brand started hitting me up being like, oh, we know you were there. We're going to post pictures of you in the sizzle reel. And I was like, I really wasn't. So, like, not only that, like, I was bitching the whole night to the people that I was with that if they go, I'm going to be mad at them. So, like, just so you know, like, not only was I not there, I went to parties and, like, and not sound like an asshole, I went to the parties of people who I don't even like, specifically because, to me, they have more credibility and deserve my attention more than whatever. And I'm not trying to sound like an egomaniac when I say that. Like, I don't mean, like, the HighTimes guys' attention. I mean any of our attention. I mean weed smokers, people who care about this community, people who care about this plant. If someone is here just to make money off of you and doesn't care about the quality of your meds or your wellness or your well-being, you know what I mean? Then like they don't deserve your support. And like that's a very like that's an ego-driven statement. That's what I feel that way, and I think that everyone should feel that way. But like I recognize that that's my personal feelings, and everyone can feel however the fuck they want to. But like you know, that's not I'm not saying you can't do these things. I'm not trying to control anybody's actions. What I'm trying to say is like I see this as a problem, and I think that it's easily avoidable for all of us. If you want to be part of a solution that I think could help long term, here's one. And that's like
no doubt.
That's it. You know what I mean? Like go party somewhere else. Is that bad?
Yeah.
What is there to really fight back about besides the fact that that's going to be a fun party? And like I am not acknowledging that. I'm not I'm not discounting that, right? But like, oh, you want something really fucking spicy? Yeah. Like I'm sure there are plenty of people who are doing terrible things who are having really great fucking parties. That doesn't mean I'm going to go associate with those fucking monsters because they are fun, because they have money to throw around. You know what I mean? Like, who's got like lots of money to throw around? Fucking tech CEOs and fucking, cartel kingpins and shit like that. I'm not going to either of their parties.
No, sir.
You know what I mean?
Sir.
Like,
not all money's good money, man.
That's what I mean.
It's an old one, but
that's
a good
what I mean.
one.
But it's association. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
true.
You don't know how that shit's gonna come back and bite you fucking 10 years down the line. And like,
bro.
if you like, I've heard since I posted that, I've heard some terrible things about the people involved in a few of the organizations. I'm not gonna repost any of that because again, my point has never been to slam any of them, right? But what I will say is, I also think that like this might be to some degree karma. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I might have had that realization because, that was the universe correcting a wrong that somebody else had made at some point. And it was like, okay, this is, whatever. Bro. So like, I just try and be...
It's all connected.
I just try and be aware. And that's like, again, like I also like, listen, same thing with weirdos. Like if I have a realization or I feel like the reason I really wrote why we hate cops was because I wanted outsiders who think that like who are confused about why this mentality, like you hear me say that like I don't necessarily think that we should consider every person who's a cop like that's a life sentence, you know what I mean? Like I don't believe that, but I also think that like we have very strong reasons for feeling that way.
No doubt.
And like both things can be true, you know what I mean? Like that. So that's really I think what HighTimes role is, right? Is like let's start going through these more complicated things, and like if we can help make it easier to understand or make this just a better place to be, you know what I mean? Like put out more love than you put in fucking fire into the world. And when I say fire, I mean like hate, not like like, not like good weeds. But like if you put out more love, then like hopefully the place is a better place than you left.
Definitely,
you found
bro.
it.
Definitely. And to the whole cop thing, like. I mean, at the very bare minimum, because I know some cops, like some ex-sheriffs and stuff that work on farms up in Grass Valley, Nevada City, and these are some down-ass fools. I didn't even know there were cops till my man told me type shit. You know what I mean? They hold shit down. But this is more like a country kind of deal.
I think that also and this is what I mean about both things can be true. Like, especially if you were directly harmed by the war on drugs.
Yeah.
Someone profiting off of this thing that you feel alignment with is hurtful. You know what I mean? And like, again, I get that. I'm not discounting that. But I think that's your lizard brain saying, I'm offended and my feelings matter. You know what I mean? Where really what you should say is, okay, like that person can exist, but he ain't going to hold a candle to my fucking love and my like, whatever. And like, listen, if he does, like the guys that you're talking about, like, he deserves to be here. You know what I mean? So like as much as like we want to whatever, like it is not my place to say how much any of these other people have done or deserve to be here for the plant. Yeah. I am here, like Jimmy says, I'm loyal to the heat. You know what I mean? Like if you got fucking fire, I'm interested in seeing it. I'm interested in asking questions about it. And like, listen, again, every time I go to another state, you know what I mean? Like I was in Texas fucking 3 weeks ago.
How was that?
And honestly, bro, way more fun. The day I left, I went to a sesh before I went to the airport, and I wasn't gonna bring any weed home with me. And like all these fucking dealers in Austin were just like, "Don't worry, bro, our airport's really cool. Like, here, take this home with you. Take this home with you."
Bro, and it was legit.
I ended up bringing a bunch of weed home.
There you go.
The funniest part about it was
no vac seal, nothing.
Not only
Raw
no
dog?
vac seal, just fucking Mylars in my backpack.
Ooh.
I was the only person in security when I was going through. Literally. It was not
bro,
only was it horrifying, but all of the fucking TSA guys came over because I started talking to the guy who was like patting me down after I went through the whatever. And we were talking about eating barbecue here, and all of the other TSA guys were like, "Oh, but did you try Franklin's? And like there's a spot like Louisiana's or something like that. Like you got it, whatever." And like I don't know if they missed.
That's how you get through.
I don't know if they missed the bag or
Bring
what.
up barbecue, they lose their fucking mind,
bro. They all had different suggestions. It was fucking.
It's like us talking about pizza.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I get it, man. I get it. Yeah, bro. Man, I love some good barbecue, man. Yo, I gotta get to Texas, bro. I have a thing. I have a saying. Everybody can't be lying. Well, everybody says it's lit.
I was also. The laws there are strict, right?
Yes.
If you go to Austin, like they're like it's very liberal. You know what I mean?
Cool.
So
I hear
like,
great things about Austin.
It's fun, but it's hot.
It is right? Like Sacramento hot.
Like stupid hot, bro. Like you're gonna like way more than Sacramento hot. Like it feels like it's like 101 and it feels like 110 type shit. You know what I mean? Oof. You don't. But again, like they have like river or like lake parties. You know what I mean? Like
that's fun.
We went out and they have like these like small boats that kind of just like go into the middle of the water and like tie up next to each other and like create like these little barges. It's fucking dope. As soon as we got there, it was really funny. There was like a pretty like slightly older chick, like 4 boats down. I guess she saw my like man bun as I like came out of the water or whatever. She like climbed 4 boats over and she's like, "You got any weed?" I was like, I do, but I don't have a lighter. She like went on a hunt and like asked every single person on this barge and eventually found a lighter and we got to get high. So it was like, it was fucking great.
That's fire, bro. That's fire. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's good, man. Yo, what about Thailand, bro? You and Jimmy went and fucked around in Thailand. Thailand was like out there, my guy.
Thailand was crazy, man. I mean, like, so I was there 10 years ago. I had some friends teaching English out there when I got out of college.
Cool.
And so I went to visit them because I was like, wanted to do something crazy, right?
Sure.
Never been to Southeast Asia, so fuck it.
Yeah.
When I first went, it was like they cut off your hands type shit. No, they wouldn't cut off your hands.
No,
but they really did not like it. So bad that like when I was like desperate for weed after like 3 days of being sober out there, I had asked enough locals and they were like, there was coincidentally back then like a Jamaican bar in every town, right? And the answer was always just go to the Jamaican bar, wait till you smell it, and then like just ask the guy who's got it, you know? So there was a Jamaican bar. There's a Jamaican bar not too far away, and I was like, I said to my friends, I was like, I like it's been too long. Like I gotta do this. I'm losing my fucking mind. I can't eat, whatever. I can barely sleep. They were like, all right, well, we're not going with you because, we'll stay here. But like, if you get arrested, like we can't all get arrested here. You know what I mean? Like you're at least still a tourist, but like we technically live here.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
No doubt.
I was like, all right, fair, whatever. I got weed. I got a bunch of weed. Bro. I brought it around the rest of the time.
Find weed.
No, I know. But I mean, I brought it around the rest of the time. I smoked it all over the place. It wasn't a problem. People were just very scared about it, right?
Okay.
So like again, you could still smoke back then, but when I tell you, like, and also back then they had pharmacies all over the place, and the pharmacies like you go and buy Xanax, you could buy fucking whatever you wanted. They didn't care. So it was like weed was like a no, but no. But like you can go get Norcos, no fucking problem,
God,
right?
Bro.
Now going back there. Every pharmacy is a dispensary now. Like they literally like they don't trap pills anymore. They fucking sell weed. And not only is there a dispensary everywhere, but then there's another table from someone else selling weed outside on like the fucking street corner. And then like 2 stores down, there's a fucking ice cream truck that's been retrofitted to sell weed. You know what I mean? And then like another table right next to him. Like it never stops.
Talking about
it's
the
everywhere.
flood.
It's everywhere, bro. But weed isn't very good yet. You know what I mean? They don't like they're still like I mean, you've seen real land races before, right?
Yes. Shaggy.
It's grassy. Yeah, it's grassy.
Grassy.
The shit that they're excited about is the grassy stuff, but like they don't even like see fire yet. You know what I mean? We did see a few places that like like I would say it was probably like a 75. Out of like 100 for like our standards.
That's not too bad.
It wasn't bad. Like
considered.
We found like a few places where you could actually see trikes on it, and like it was like you could tell what the genetics were. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But like we found an RS out there that was very clearly like someone came to when they did their clone drop, took a clone back to fucking Thailand and like grew it out there.
No shit.
It's not great, but you could tell what it is.
No
you
doubt,
know what I mean?
No doubt.
So they're excited, which is dope. You know what I mean? Like it's nice to see like a community. It's like New York, like they really like throwing themselves into it, right? They want to be like Vegas or fucking Amsterdam of Southeast Asia, but it's a very different. It's like Oklahoma. The just the climate and the realities of life there are much different.
Sure.
Now the difference between Oklahoma and Thailand is energy is way more expensive in Thailand. So not only is it super hot and like got to cool down rooms, but they also have to do it costing way more, right?
Sure.
So like in Oklahoma, like they started running their lights at night to like offset costs, right? To try and whatever. Thailand, like they don't even have that luxury. Like they still have to run the rooms.
Is it hot at nighttime?
Exactly. Like and also anything that's getting shipped over there is like it's coming on
days.
Well, it's coming on fucking like boats. You know what I mean? So like it's sitting in a shipping container for like fucking a week or something like that. It's aging the product months. Exactly. So they're not even seeing really great shit yet.
Temperature swings and moisture.
But they have figured out how to grow strawberries hydroponically out there, and they managed to shrink the grow cycle down to half the time. So it takes 4 months to grow strawberries, and they figured out how to do it in 2 months. Or they shrunk the process down to 2 months. So I imagine they're going to figure out how to do something similar for cannabis. Okay. And like, again, I imagine that at first, initially, it's not going to be great weed. You know what I mean? But I'm excited to see how this evolves. Like, it's a different way to involve the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. So that's fucking cool, man. Thailand's on the list, man.
It's honestly, you should really go out there. Like, it's like,
I don't
it's
even go out
so
for
much
weed.
fun.
I just want to go to
No, that's what I mean.
It's awesome, man.
It's a melting pot of Asia. So like, there's you can get amazing food from any type of Asian cuisine. You go. I didn't. The first time I went, I didn't do the river. I didn't really want to stay in Bangkok the first time because like it was like much seedier than it is now. Now it's like it feels like much more comfortable. But the first time it was still like very like underground. Lots of drinking, lots of sex shows. Not like much like fucking culture, let's say, or the culture that I was coming for.
It was more of a dark culture.
It was sex pat culture. You know what I mean?
Got you.
And you know what a sex pat is, right? Should I?
No.
Okay.
Elaborate.
So you know what an expat is? Like an expatriate, someone who moves to a foreign country.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an expatriate. Someone who moves to a foreign country specifically to enjoy the sex life out there is a sex pat.
Oh shit.
So like they're like weird old guys from all over the world. You know what I mean?
It.
Who just like go to like fuck ladyboys and weird.
Yeah.
I should say we live in a time where that's very sensitive. Ladyboys is what they call them.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
It's not
there,
like it ain't like a trans thing. It's
like
they're like they do
that's the name
that specifically.
There.
Yeah, exactly.
No
I don't want people to think I'm.
We're just being culturally correct.
Yeah, exactly,
Don't
exactly.
Now, come on now.
I
got love for everybody.
When I wrote the story about Thailand in my piece, I was like, I was talking to the other guys that I went on the trip with, because HighRise was us too, and HighRise in LA. I was at their office at the time. And I was like, I need to tell these stories, but I don't know if like when I tell these stories, people are going to be very upset because like it doesn't fit the PC standards of like whatever. But like it wasn't even like we went out there.
Man.
It wasn't even like we went out there like looking for weird shit. Like you go out there and it finds you. You know what I mean? Like,
bro.
Like do you know about the ping pong shows? Like what ping pong shows are?
I don't, but I think I know what you're about to say.
It's like a weird sex show.
They're shooting them out there. What
yeah,
you call
yeah. There are guys everywhere that
Guys?
they just have these like on the street corners. They just have these little signs, and it says like pussy ping pong, pussy dart, pussy whatever, and they're trying to like get you into a cart to go and like watch a sex show or whatever.
Sure.
And like it's not only is it like not very expensive or whatever, like it's like part of the culture there. Like if you go to one, you will see like an office party there as well. Like you know what I mean? Like a bunch of like office workers from down the block who are like, oh, this is how like instead of karaoke
they're not throwing axes and doing karaoke.
Yeah, bro, exactly. This is like a whatever.
Show.
So it's a different culture out
team
there.
building.
You know what I mean? It's team building, exactly.
building.
It's different. It's a different culture
Thailand.
out there, but it's so different from what we experience that like
bro.
it's fun. It feels like you're going to a different planet.
Oh, that sounds like right up my alley.
But
just
also
because it's different, not because of the ping pong.
No,
show.
no.
I mean, I'm gonna watch one.
Yeah, of
for
course
sure.
you should.
Just
No,
for
you
record.
absolutely should. And if you talk to any local, like they will tell you, like, well, you should go to see one. Like,
Which they'll tell you, no, don't go to that one. Go to the.
I don't think that there's much variation.
Okay,
Like it's like
got
again, like when you go there and you see these guys in the corner, every guy has exactly the same sign. Like it's like
I
they
got
were
you.
these were mass produced. It wasn't like they all made
got
you know
you,
like
got
they're
you.
fucking whatever. Like it might be like a listen. For all I know, it's like a fucking organized crime, and this is like
That's what
they're
my
all
way.
the same.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
It's the same.
it's
playing
all owned by the same
pot.
people. Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. That's pretty
But
cool.
at the same time, you know, like again, like the community there will be like, nah, you got to do it. You got to do it once. You don't have to go like, you know,
Yeah.
whatever, but you got to do it once.
You do it once. Like a Friday night kind of deal.
You
know?
can do it on a Tuesday, bro. Like it's
Okay.
always going. So okay, so two
always
things.
up.
So one, Cowson Road is like Party Street. That's probably the easiest way
I've
to
heard
like
of this
get
road.
there.
Yes.
That's like you'll find all sorts of like weird clothes. Like they got all sorts of great bootlegs, like pictures like you know people doing blow and shit like that, like just on a t-shirt. Like it's fucking hilarious. And like celebrities doing, you know, like
Yeah.
the one time Arnold did cocaine, like big on a t-shirt. You know what I mean?
Oh, shit.
So there's that, but then there's also there's a river that goes through Bangkok.
Mm-hmm.
You should really do like a boat cruise on the river because
Okay.
I got to tell you that was so much better than like I ever expected
Safe?
out of Bangkok. Not only was it safe, bro, like you go down this river and there's just everything right next to each other. So you'll see like a Louis Vuitton store, like no joke, like a fucking superstar, like mall, and then right next door is a slum. And then right next door is a temple. And then right next door is
Oh,
like
wow.
some fucking like Japanese looking thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And then right
cool.
next door is like something fucking crazy. Like it's wild. And like you just go down and like actually the boat tour that we went on took us to a temple like down the river.
Oh, that's cool,
And then
man.
we stopped at the Chinese village on the way back. And like it was really fucking
That sounds
sick.
fucking awesome, bro. Hell yeah.
It was really sick.
Yeah, do your thing, man. So, back in the States, what do you feel about the current state of the game right now, bro?
It's a
Traditional
fucking mess.
license, whatever you want to call it.
It's a mess.
It's a fucking mess.
It's a mess
that's
in
for
every
sure.
state. I don't want to blow up any spots around what some people might be doing around interstate commerce, but I am very worried about that. I think this might be the time that we see one of the big guys, like one of the first big guys, actually fall because of legal things, and that scares me. But also, I think that we just have a few years of rough go ahead of us, and
Yeah.
like this is part of why like I think education is so important. Is that
Yeah.
like we might not appreciate it, but we don't know everything, and we don't even
Yeah.
realize what we don't know yet. You know what I mean? So like, especially a lot of us that are trying to like do brand stuff and whatever, like we're
Sure.
playing against guys who like can fake it way better than we can do it with
Yeah, that's true.
intention. You know
That's
what
true.
I mean? So I'm trying. I think an important opportunity for HighTimes is like being the ones who kind of help the industry recognize that like growing up isn't the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? As long as you're still true to yourself. You know what I mean? So like if
like
you're
that.
not, if you don't go and like, I said this somewhere. I don't remember what show it was, but like I don't have a problem taking money from rich kids. I have a problem when rich kids are giving me instructions. You know what I mean? Or like
Yeah.
giving me like a to-do list. You can, if you want, like, you know, the sauce, like I could tell you the sauce. You know what I mean? But I'm not like trying to like buy your sauce. You know what I mean? It's like really
no
what it
doubt.
comes down to.
No doubt.
But like understanding what they're selling is important. So like acting like, you know, or not even understanding what they're selling, figuring out how you can use them to your benefit is like how you get to the next level for everything, right? How you
Sure.
grow your base. So like I do think that like there are going to be a lot of hard lessons like in the next couple years for people, but like the smart ones are reading books, are watching the opponents and the guys who are succeeding right now and are figuring out how what they're doing that's working and what's not, and like figuring out like and acting accordingly, right? Because like again, to the point about like First Smoke's getting a lot of shit about having that conversation, right?
Oh, with Kyle, right?
Yeah,
dude.
And I'll be
Their
honest,
fucking page taken down. People were reporting
Yeah.
them.
Oh,
and shit.
yeah.
I'm assuming that's
No,
what happened. you
yeah,
know
it's
what I mean?
definitely what happened. They didn't take their page on themselves.
Right, they're on fire right now.
Exactly. So I think that like there's a real short-sightedness in the industry that
Yeah.
like people are mad at a conversation like that. To me, like I get it, they're saying, oh, you're platforming, you're whatever, but like understand that like a good offense is a strong defense. And if like you think that fucking professional sports teams aren't watching game team tapes of their next whoever they're playing next and understanding what plays they're running and shit like that, like
And they are in
why
the
do we think we cannot do that?
Yeah.
Do you think the brands that are super successful, like I say, is like so many of these guys in the game like just smoke their own shit and like really believe they grow the best shit. Like you think the guys who actually grow the best shit aren't smoking everyone else's shit all the time to see what they're doing and see how they stack up. That's why like it's funny to me when like people people think it's drama because Doja says his shit's better than Cash Tree. Like, no, bro, that's an advertisement. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't see how you can use that to propel your business, you're not thinking deep enough about it. Because, like, look, any brand saying, hey, I think my weed is better than the most expensive shit on the market, that's gonna people are gonna think about that, and they might want to at least do a Coke and Pepsi test for it first. You know what I mean?
Fugazi up against any Cash Tree shit.
But so this is my point, right? This is my point, right? Like, Cash Tree shouldn't take that personally. Cash Tree fans shouldn't take that personally because that's an advertisement. This guy is trying to sell his product. They also shouldn't, like, respectfully be like, oh, like now I need to, you know, let's go head to head. You know what I mean? Because and this is a lesson that someone taught me when I first got to HighTimes. But like when you're this visible and you're like and things like are optically going well, you don't make fun of the small guys. You know what I mean? You don't throw stones from the throne is the quote behind it. You know what I mean?
Don't throw stones from, that's better than the glass house. Don't throw stones from the throne.
Exactly.
Because you will come down.
Well, not only will you come down, but like if you all you do is light fires, the people that are watching your fires, they're gonna be excited when you burn too. Because they're not fucking excited.
They're for the fire.
Yeah, they don't love you. They love the arsonist in you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like again, it's easy to light fires. You know what I mean? It's easy to like whatever. It's harder. Like, and what I'm trying to do now is like light fires with intention. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let me light a fire so that it illuminates something. So that like you like why we hate cops, shit talk, fucking the trap is forever. All of these pieces are literally like designed to inflame so that you'll see the bigger point. Like if I can make an analogy here because I pissed you off and you get that, then to me it's worth pissing you off for a second because I think you're going to end up being better for it at the end. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And like, again, that's an ego statement right there, like 100%. But like you are better the more good information you consume. You know what I mean? And like if just showing people a different way to look at things so that they don't take, like that's honestly a role I've recognized I play for a lot of my friends is like I talk them off the ledge a lot just by like diffusing whatever the situation is. You know what I mean? And like, listen, if I could be a bomb diffuser for people, like that I don't ever actually explode. You know what I mean? Like that actually sounds great. You know what I mean?
It does. I fucks with it. Let me ask you this. If you can, I think this is on par with what we're talking about. Can you debunk any cannabis myths or what are you calling bullshit out there right now in the cannabis?
You mean the white ash thing wasn't good enough?
That was great. And if we want to stick, if that was it, then we can leave it. Because I would say 70% of the time that does come up when I ask that question. That or THC percentage.
Well, that's honestly, that's the first thing that pops in my mind is that
Speak
like,
on it, bro.
THC percentage is, and I did earlier about, but like THC percentage is, it's not a potency metric like that. Like it is it's a THC potency metric. It's not an intoxication potency metric. You know what I mean? And like we're treating it like that, and it's just misleading people. But like this industry has so much bro science, and like honestly, the thing that I really like, I want more than anything, is because I don't have the answers. Like I said before, like I'm not a scientist, right? Like I want to shine the light on the guy who does. I just see the problems, and there are many, and they're glaring. You know what I mean? So like, I think that like we need to. This is what I said in the cops weirdos piece. But when you identify a problem and name it, then you could start to make it better. But nothing gets better when you're just agitated about a symptom. You know what I mean? And like, there are a million things to be agitated about in today's world, right? But like, this is something that we all love. You know what I mean? It's something that like, if we're really here, and listen, if we're here, everyone that's here is here for some sort of love. Some of it's for the love of money. You know what I mean? And I think that's the fundamental thing that like I want to divide from. Like, if you're here for a love of money, I don't think you're in the right place. But if you're here for a love of the plant, how can I help you? You know what I mean?
Right. Because let me tell you something. if you're a brand like me, you know what I mean? You have to do distro deals and find cultivation and pay a sales team. You know what I'm saying? There's not much money.
100%.
It's fucking peanuts. You're pretty much chasing your money back.
Well,
Just
it's also
build your brand equity.
Why do you think all these money guys want to buy everyone so much? It's a build it or buy it mentality, right? And it's $1 million. It's a million times more expensive to build it. Building a brand, not only is it hard, but it's not always successful. So that's why you see these guys come in with these big ass fucking coffers and they say, hey, you look like you're doing dope. Like, look at Cookies, bro. How many fucking organizations are part of Cookies? Like, it's all licensing deals that are like.
It's all fucking square-ass white dudes.
This is what, but that square-ass white dudes, there's also a faction.
And respectfully, because they
no.
did what they needed to do, be in position to be
but
in
this
that
also,
position.
well, that's what I will say. I do think that, like, I and this is super polarizing, but like I said, I think I said this earlier, like the idea of like chads, and pushing off a person because we don't like the way that they look, like. I think a lot of people who feel that way are like people who are like picked on a little bit too hard in high school and like think that like this is their time. Like, again.
Okay, I got their tough guy moment.
Exactly. It's the same thing I was saying before about like policing who can be in the industry. Like, we're saying we don't like cops, so we're gonna do something like them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we have to call spades spades. And like just because we like something or we feel like it's ours doesn't mean it actually belongs to us. Or like that it can't be something for somebody else.
Yeah.
And I used to think that like cannabis brought everybody together. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, it makes whatever. But now I feel like cannabis just makes people kind of more comfortable with who they are. You know what I mean? So like listen, I've seen so many people come out and like display like hatred on our shit. You know what I mean? And like let their bigotry show because they're pissed about something else. Like Mary Jane Gibson did a piece on sexism for us. The amount of people that came out of the woodwork just like hate on women. You know what I mean? It's like, this is exactly like you're proving the fucking point. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it ended up being funny because I was talking to Mary Jane afterwards, and I was like, I didn't intend for this to be a dog whistle, but it ended up. You know what a dog whistle is?
I know the term. I don't know.
So a dog whistle and racism is like when somebody, like, you know what a dog whistle is, right? Like you can blow a whistle, you can't hear, but like the dogs go crazy. So it's like a dog whistle for racism is like when you say something that like has separate meaning. So like regular people won't get that it's racist, but the people that will are like, oh my God, he did that
was slick.
He called them something terrible.
Got
you know what I mean?
Got you,
So like it was a dog whistle for all these fucking sexists who like wanted to come out, who like came out and let their bigotry show, right?
Sure.
And like the thing that like this has made me realize is that like the reason they feel comfortable showing that, especially in today's society, is because they're stoned. You know what I mean? Is because like they feel like everyone who like smokes weed feels that way. You know what I mean? Because like we've kind of been led to believe that like it's the same thing with fucking that it's non-addictive. You know what I mean? Like
I'm addicted, bro.
I'll be
the first one to tell you.
I am happy to say publicly,
Ooh.
And
I'm good with it.
So okay, you know what? This is a sneak preview. This is a good one. I've been working on this piece. When I created Weirdos, this was like one of the pieces that I wanted to do. And we are over a year into it now, and I still have not been able to finish or phrase it in a way that I like enough.
Okay.
But
it's coming.
The fundamental thesis behind it is that there's a lot of bickering in the industry, right? What I'm saying, every time I see it, when like these fights bubble up and shit like that, what I believe it actually is withdrawal symptoms.
Oh shit.
People are not high enough.
Oh,
and they're
that's an
like,
interesting point.
And they're testy. And they're getting tested. So, like, you know, when at fucking Hall of Flowers or Zalympix, when everyone's setting up and they haven't had their first smoke of the day yet, and everyone's fucking angry and getting into fights and shit like that.
People are late. I didn't get my spot I wanted.
Exactly. That's because you're addicted to weed and you haven't had a hit recently.
Yeah.
But here's my thing.
Yeah.
And this is I'm spoiling the end of the Weirdos piece. So, like, you know, please still read it. But
read that shit.
No, just fucking around.
Just dropping it for free.
The end all and be all of it is I'm not mad at addiction. Like, that's not my problem. I think we have an endocannabinoid system. Like, we're supposed to to some degree nourish it, right?
Same here.
My enemy is sobriety, and you're not high enough. So please just go smoke. You know what I mean? Like, that's the game. Like, you're not not a dickhead. You just aren't high enough. Go smoke a little bit more and you'll be good. Like, yeah, that's withdrawal. Yeah, we're addicted, but like that's okay.
No doubt.
That's okay.
No doubt.
Things are still going well. You know what I mean?
Still
We're
cool,
surviving.
man. And I don't
we're
judge.
Functional addicts.
Yes, and I don't judge people for doing other drugs. Styles P said some shit that was very prolific and I always hold on to it. He was like, "Yo, look, I don't diss cokeheads, crackheads, dope fiends. Like, yo, I'm a weed addict. I smoke weed.
Well, he
bro.
also served all those people, so
That
you know
too.
it's hard
So did I,
it's hard
you know what I'm
to
saying?
no, but I mean it's hard to offend your customer base.
That
You know
part,
what I mean?
That part, no doubt. No,
Nobody wants to
maybe
turn
that's
away a
why-
customer.
Maybe that's why I feel it too.
There you go.
Let's
Yeah,
live
yeah.
that life. But
We want to be friends with everybody. I feel like
it's like,
that's
yo, who am I to judge you, bro? I smoke wild trees.
well. I've always been of this mentality that like you should be nice to everybody, and like you can be friends with everybody. You don't have to be close. You don't have to be whatever. But like if everyone
Cool and
has a
cordial,
good,
hell
it's also like I grew up during Columbine times, so like in my
Yes,
head it's
bro.
like if the kid who might bring a gun to school thinks like I'm a good dude, he's gonna hit me up and be like, don't come to school tomorrow. You know what I mean?
what I
Like
mean?
that's the kind like so I've always had the mentality of like all the misfits, all the whatever. Like I want to be your friend. I like
I was
like
cool with everybody.
we might not like actually have a lot in common, but like I like weird shit too. Let's fucking
Me
talk
too.
about
I'm
it. You know what I mean?
I'm a fucking weirdo. We're all weird, man. It's just who is admitting.
So that's what weirdos is about, bro. That's why I called it
Love
weirdos.
it, bro.
Like it was literally
Love
to
that.
be like we're gonna
That's cool.
reclaim this fucking title because like
Yeah.
cannabis was the
Spin it.
place for the outsiders, and now that it's all
It
in
is.
vogue and fucking
inclusive now.
cool. Well, yeah, now it's like
Which is
where are the
great.
outsiders supposed to go? You know what I mean?
That's
Now
right.
that the
There you
cool
go.
kids have this, like what is ours? And like
Yeah.
that like.
Oh wow,
Listen.
that's interesting.
That like they need a safe space, and like I feel like again like the other thing I try and keep in mind is like I'm speaking for like my community, quote unquote, is like
Definitely.
the top 15% of cannabis consumers. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
no, that's fair.
Like
that's fair.
I love everyone involved in the process,
We
but
love it, bro.
most people will not ever care enough to get as navel gazy and weird about the shit as I do. You know what I mean? But that's okay because like I feel like our role and like as writers or like journalists in the space, quote unquote, is like that we're supposed to help the people who don't want to go all the way into it get a bird's eye view. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And like that's really the goal of media all the time. But like when we see people like, oh, fake news and shit like that, like no one is trying to lie to you. We're
No.
susceptible to slander suits. So
Yeah.
like if we lie
Yeah,
intentionally,
bro.
like you can make a lot of money off us, right?
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is get you the best information and make it as easily digestible as possible. And like sometimes, especially in the immediacy network that we live in today, like everything happens so quickly that sometimes people get things wrong. No one is trying, or like I won't say no one, like no one reputable is trying to cause fires or make somebody look bad. They're trying to share the information and inform their audience. Because at the end of the day, again, as much as I'm in service to the community, who I'm really in service to is HighTimes readers. You know, that's the check that I am paid to focus on. You know,
You ever just have a reality check one day, like, yo, I work for fucking HighTimes, bro. Like it was
Oh, yeah, all the
it was
time,
the
bro.
most shadiest, naughtiest thing outside of pornos when you were a kid to be looking at when you were a little shorty.
I grew.
You know what I'm saying?
So in New Paltz, bro, like we didn't have fucking Playboy centerfolds on our walls. We had Bud centerfolds. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like this is like
Yeah, hell
fucking like
yeah.
weird fucking movie posters we liked and fucking Bud porn. You know?
That's right.
And so like to be here now is crazy, but it's also like respectfully, not sound like an asshole. Like I wasn't like lusting after HighTimes trying to work there. You know what I mean?
No
Like
doubt,
the
it just
universe
kinda
kind of put it in, and like
Yeah.
honestly, the reason like I didn't ever think I would work at HighTimes, right?
No doubt.
The reason why it was like whatever is like I'm acutely aware of where the brand was, and not that like I've done so much to change it, but like where the cannabis cups were and where the state of the culture was, and like listen, like everything. Cannabis culture in general had like the sexiness is kind of worn off as legal, as like legality had come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And like, that's not anybody's fault, but like, if anybody deserves to be around, like, in my opinion, during this heyday and when like there actually is real money to be made, and how naive I was back then,
Yeah.
I believed that it was this brand that had been holding
Hell
the
yeah.
torch for 50 years, right?
Absolutely, bro.
That's as much as like I pinch myself and I remember whatever, like that's what's really exciting about it is like I'm carrying this torch that like so many fucking icons have held. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
bro.
That like I don't like, and listen, like there are plenty of like, I'm not trying to say like I'm not important. There are plenty of fucking HighTimes editors and you know whatever that people don't remember, and I don't think that I'm more important than any of them.
Yeah.
But I do think that what we're doing and like the legacy of like this magazine is something that like maybe won't last forever. We're not building the pyramids or anything like that, but like this is a moment in time that like I feel like I work at the Rolling Stone I love. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm doing. I never thought I would even be in media, right? But like I'm having my almost famous moment. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Rolling Stone writer. Like that's what this feels like.
That's fire, bro.
It's sick.
Good for you, man. I love it. Do you have any weird skills or life hacks you care to share with us?
Weird skills or life hacks? Well,
I'm a cheat code guy.
yeah, I like to take things apart, honestly. Like, I'm a strategist at my core. So, like, that's, like, I had a roommate in college who used to call me a map maker because, like, I would, like,
What maker?
A map maker.
Map maker,
Because, like, I used to, I just realized I'm way far away from the mic. I used to, like, take things apart or, like, try, like, honestly, the goal is try and figure out the fastest way from point A to point B, right?
Yes,
So, like,
yes.
I learned later in life this is essentially called growth hacking. But, like, when I was in college and Red Bull was training us, they called it hacks, right? Which is just basically, like, do some, like, small activity to make a big impact. And once I like my eyes was open to that and like how like whatever, I like started thinking more about how things worked and why they worked in order to like, you know, plan it out, right? And I think that like most people more think about what they want to see more than what they want it to be received. And actually, that's probably one of my biggest lessons from HighTimes in general is like just talking for the audience as opposed to like, this is what I think, this is what I want to see, this is, you know, whatever. Like, I can have this vision in my head of like, oh, I want this festival or I want whatever. And this is what I'm thinking from back when I was producing shows. Like, I want the stage to look like this, I want it to feel like this. But like, how do I want them to feel seeing it, right? What is the goal?
Yeah.
And like when we're doing cannabis cups, like one of the things I used to say to the guys is like, it's a weird juxtaposition. Like we have like this music show and then we have a farmer's market and like we're not connecting them.
Yeah.
What we need to do is like make this a museum of ice cream. This is when the museum of ice cream is popular, and like make like an acid trip that people can go get high, hang out in the acid trip, and then all of a sudden music starts and they can go watch a cool show. That's like that's an experience, right? Like that's
an experience.
That's the
you
full
remember forever.
Exactly. That's like the full thread.
Yeah.
We're only planning with like, oh, we can make money on this and this is what people will come to. You know what I mean? And like, again, those business realities shift. And like, I was never the event guy. So like my opinion was always kind of like, you know, like that's great, John.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Great job.
But like,
you don't do this.
I call myself the token wook at HighTimes.
The token look.
Yeah, because like I feel like a lot of what I do is just complain about like where things are or like what things are. So like I'm definitely insulated from certain decisions.
Wook status.
Yeah, well,
that's funny as
you
fuck.
know, but I'm also like, again, the goal is like I'm just super passionate about, you know, the brand and the culture, and like it offends me when we do something that like I think is dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And also like respectfully, like me and my team work so goddamn hard giving the community or trying to create something that the community can respect. You know what I mean?
Bro.
And like
You do a great job at it.
I appreciate you, but also like there are plenty of reasons why we have the cards stacked up against us. You know what I mean? So like respectfully, my guys don't always need one of those cards to be me. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
And so like, you know, like they'll call me in for like, you know, when they need me to go off the handle on something, or like, you know, somebody's got a really bad idea and they want to laugh. They're like, hey John, what do you think about this? You know what I mean?
Doubt.
Yeah, that's good.
That's cool. Well, my friend, now it's time for you to give us your favorite top three strains of all time. One old school, one new school, and one desert island.
One desert island. Okay, so I think my favorite strain of all time is probably Sensi Star. And like
Sensi Star, that's a dope one. Okay.
I love Sensi. That was like rocket
Fire.
fuel for me when I was in college. If anybody can bring that back or fucking has a cut, wants to fucking send me some nugs, I would love to check it out. I would probably write about it. Just saying. Honestly, no, I will officially say if someone brings me Sensi Star, I will write about it either way, even if I'm saying this is not the real Sensi Star. So
there you go. Folks.
That is the only time I normally, like the promise I normally make is I will never publish something that's like not like, you know, like nice, because like, again, I'm not trying to like sow divisiveness. I'm trying to like make people feel good and make the community get shit they like and want, you know what I mean? So I like that. This is the one time that if you bring me Sensi Star and it's not Sensi Star, I will publish in my list that you brought me Sensi Star and that it wasn't really Sensi Star, but whatever, I thought about it. So That's a promise I just made live.
Fire.
What was the question again? Because
Now you got,
distracted.
so that was your old
Sensi
school.
Star is my favorite.
All time.
Or old school. Oh,
That's so that's old school.
That's
what we're
old
going
school, but honestly, it's all time. So like we can go
Okay,
old
so
school.
that's
We can go old
you
school
can
with
bring
it.
it to the island with you as well.
I gotta choose different things.
It's
There are
your
three
choice.
different things. It's all Sensi
No,
Star.
you can.
No,
bring-
I'm
you
just,
can-
I'm
no,
just
no,
kidding.
You
I'm
can
just
do
kidding.
whatever you want. These are your truths.
I will say, I'm a huge Durban guy, and like old
Okay.
school Durban. If we get real Durban, so like maybe I almost want to say
Damn.
like Durban is old school strain.
Okay.
Sensi Star, which is also an old school strain, is my favorite strain of all time. Desert Island. If somebody makes a fire Durban Sensi cross, no, I'm just kidding.
Okay. No. You gotta be something you smoked, and remember it's the best batch of that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
don't stress
yeah.
yourself out.
I don't know, bro, because like on my rose-colored glasses, I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to get like real sour D's. It'd be cool to get a real Sensi Star again. But like of the new shit that's like coming out, I will say, and like of my strain of the last like 10 years is still, and this is like, I know people think it's weird, but cereal milk. And real cereal
Okay.
milk that tastes
Cereal
like
milk's
fucking
fire.
that tastes like cinnamon fucking milky goodness, not the fucking fruity one.
Yeah.
But I know they're both out there, and no disrespect to the fruity one, but I like the milkiness of
Yeah,
that, just
bro.
like it's still whatever, and
The
it like
milky terps.
it's creative enough for me, you know what I mean, where I'm not like down, but I'm also not like wiry. Like that would probably be my fucking Desert Island strain, because
Okay.
like that's like it's
Taking
just,
cereal milk to the island. First time cereal milk's been to the island,
bro.
folks.
I know that's polarizing, and this is why I'm.
It's
this-
cool. I
this-
fuck with it.
Oh no, I'm trying to like like give you a viral moment.
Yeah.
No, cereal milk is gonna be so mad about because it's so old. But like I don't know. I like different stuff. You know what I mean? So like I honestly, the hardest part about being on a desert island with one strain is that I can only smoke one strain forever. Like I smoke different things in the morning
terrible question.
than I
I
smoke in the
understand.
afternoon. You know what I mean? Yeah. Can I like, if I could have like one menu that I bring with me
Nah,
that
no
like
menu,
every
champ. No
actually
menu,
wait,
champ.
you know what actually I would say, and this is, I'm gonna throw it back to the fruity guys because fucking whatever. Obviously a Z. Obviously a good Z.
Z, we got
would
one
be
for the
Desert
island? We got a Z for the island?
Z would be a desert
Another
island.
point for Z on the island.
But I also think that like, oh man,
There's a raging war between Z and OG for the
that
island.
doesn't surprise me. I'm not taking OG. Like I let's take a half a point off for OG for me if you can.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I think that like OG is one of the things that's funny to me because like as I said earlier, like I like gas when it has texture, right? But like
Yeah.
I think so many people are just like, oh, this is OG, so it's great. You know what I mean? We're like, it ain't really. But
Love that.
I also think that like, and maybe it's up here. Like I don't get up here very often, but
Yeah.
like OG has never been gone from LA. It's always around in abundance. You know what
That's
I mean? So
wild.
all
It's
these
not
people
up here, bro.
all these people like,
So
oh,
we
we
just
got to
need to
bring
take a
OG
trip?
back. Yeah,
just need to
bro.
take a trip.
There are brands in Los Angeles. The originals only grows OG. I mean, they grow
That's
some other
fire,
stuff,
bro.
but like they
and
got
we're over
tons
here
of
complaining
OGs.
about it. We're looking for the shit.
It's so again,
we just
like,
want the
to
cuts
me,
up here.
To me, it's the same thing as sour diesel. It's like, yeah, that you're smoking what it used to be. You just think it's better than it was.
Oh,
You know what I
wow.
mean?
Our palates are so advanced now, and so
Well, we got different standards where you were
Different
smoking
standards,
for
yeah.
flavor now, whereas
Yeah,
back then it was
you're right.
smoking for fucking
in a
effect.
Dutch.
You know what I
looking at a
mean?
Dutch half the time,
Exactly.
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, sour dub has a lot of that same fucking flavor,
does,
right?
bro.
So like, it's not like if you want to smoke for flavor, you can smoke for sour diesel flavor today. That's not hard to
Yeah.
obtain. It's the high, the look. You know what I mean? Like I've seen a few people
And
get
the nose,
that.
bro.
Well, the nose. It's the combination is what makes it perfect, right? But I've seen a
Yeah.
few people who like get the color down, but the nose is off.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a few people who will bring me like something that like smells like it, but it doesn't look like it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like so, like it's. But we're growing with fucking 10 years of advancements. You
No
know what I
doubt.
mean? I'm sorry if
No
I
doubt.
went off. Like
Yeah. So the last one is something new you fucking with.
something new I'm fucking with. Okay, what's new I'm fucking with? I like your Zeppelis. Your Zeppelis is
Thank you,
dope.
bro. Thank you.
That's fucking.
That was Z?
Yeah.
No
It's-
doubt.
And I know exactly where it came from. So I.
No
That's,
doubt. You know the homie?
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
fan of that one.
Shout out to Labs.
But a new strain I'm fucking with. I put out 10 of them every month, so like I'm trying not to say something that like that has been on the cop list. But maybe something that's gonna be on the cop list.
Oh, that'd be cool. Some exclusive.
The
Drop some
so
exclusive.
the interesting thing is the next 3 that I'm working on are
Okay.
actually. You know what? Hold on. Let me see which. I'm gonna look at my phone and I'm gonna see.
Yeah,
which-
do it. You can shout out all three because I like
the next three that I'm working on are actually the next one is I always do a belated 7/10 one. So I wait till after the hash holiday and then I put out a hash guide. The month after that, I'm going to do one about who to watch, and then the month after that, I'm going to do rollers and like all these like the piece is more going to be. These are guys whose roles you should cop. But,
CGO, you gotta get CGO on there.
Of course, CGO's. Actually, CGO's in my OG section. So at the top of it, it's like these are the guys who've been doing it or whatever. But like now, this has become a whole fucking profession, and there's a whole like industrial area
for real.
These are guys who like I think are doing cool stuff. Who like I'm just hearing of recently.
Definitely.
But if we talk about, okay. I think the probably the newest Z cross that I really like, and I don't even know what it's crossed with, but Zazul. That's a really good one. Foos has got a good one, but I've seen a few out here. I don't remember who bred it, but that's been like sweet and tasty. You know what I mean? Like
I love the name too.
You get both of the flavor in this nose, but also you get transfer, and I feel like that like. Again, it's important because, you know, now we smoke for flavor and we're bougie. But it also has like a nice, like, I'm not trying to just get sedated. You know what I mean? Like at night for sure. But like during the day, like I got to be weird. I got to be all over the place. I mean,
no doubt.
I will say,
I agree. Totally.
This podcast, because I'm so stoned, has been a good, like, look at how all over the place, whatever. Like this is my daily life trying to like, you know, zone in and fucking focus on the task at hand.
We'll bring you back in.
But
you've been flowing, brother.
But Z just makes me like, it just makes this more fun. You know what I mean? I'm stuck in this mode of like, I'm all over the place, like ADHD, like fucking wherever. But like, at least it's like enjoyable and like I'm thinking of fun things as opposed to thinking of like, oh man, this is fucking bothering me or this is annoying, you know?
Hell yeah. Yeah, Z's got the flavor and doesn't murder you.
But that's actually, so the same reason why I like Z is why I like cereal milk. Because like it doesn't knock me out. It makes me feel like warm, but it also makes me kind of like, in my head, more funny.
No doubt.
And that's
cool.
That's how I really try and live. Is everything's a joke. So
that's good, man. It's a good frame. It's a good frame and lens to look through in life. You know what I'm saying?
Everything's a joke and nothing's a joke at the same time. You know what I mean? Like you got to think deeper about everything.
So seriously, man.
You should never take yourself so seriously, but also like you should understand why things are happening. So that's why I go back and forth between this like philosophical and like, oh, haha, we're in a simulation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
that's a cool balance.
So it is. It's
I
fun.
like that tightrope you're walking on.
It's fun. It's like you know, it's I get to play to as many conspiracy theories and weirdo subcultures as possible. You know,
I fucks with conspiracy theories.
I don't really believe any conspiracy theories, and I more like to poke holes in them than anything else. Like, oh yeah, this is real. Well, like how's this and this and this? You know what I mean? But like, it's also funny to me that people believe the things they believe. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, Twitter's fucking with people right now, bro. Like, I'm really nervous about how many people think that their like kids are at risk and like there's like a human trafficking. Everyone's a pedophiles in Hollywood and they're coming to get their kids. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure there's some bad people out there, but like
they've always been.
You know, I've also just been in California. We get Amber Alerts all the time. They don't really happen in fucking nice areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
bro, that's a real shit. Yeah, man. If you could bring back any strain, what would it be?
Oh, boom, Sensi Star.
Oh yeah,
Done.
easy.
Yeah,
for sure.
I appreciate everyone's going for sour, but Sensi Star.
That's dope. I love that answer. Favorite place to smoke?
Favorite place to smoke? That's tough. I mean, because honestly, like in my bed. Like selfishly,
that's a great one.
Selfishly, like not, you know, out and about in the world, but probably like
fire.
If I had to like choose like an exotic location, like it'd be cool, like, you know, not that I haven't, but it'd be cool to smoke in hot tubs. I like that's a cool place to smoke. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like I like at the end of a long day, like, you know, if I could smoke, like, and I can't in the place that I live now because they would freak out if you smoke in the pool. But if I could smoke like a big cannabis cigar, like in a pool, that's probably my favorite place. Or in a hot tub, that's probably my favorite place to smoke right now.
I love that. I fucking love that. So there's nothing more nostalgic about the first time, and we didn't touch on the first time smoking, so hit me with the first time
My
smoking
first
weed.
time smoking.
How was the experience?
It was not glorified. It was like my first real, like, I was in middle school, but like my first real like high school party at somebody's house who like I didn't even like smoking with people who like I didn't even really like. I like knew one of them.
Yeah,
I knew one of them from my Syosset basketball league, which is like the the junior league I was playing at the time. And he asked me, he's like, hey, we're gonna go try weed. Do you want to do it? And I was like, well, I don't really want to hang out, but yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I want to try weed. And I remember being very like unimpressed initially, but then like one of my friend's older brothers sold, like that ended up being like how I really got access. Was like he would, for a while he would just give us, you know, like 20s or whatever, and then eventually it got to a point where he's like, all right, well, you guys got to go find 4 other friends who, you know, want it. And then it was like, okay, well, now you go, here you go. Now you can just buy a half ounce. Now here you go. You can, you know, get an ounce and go sell it to whoever and then come back when you're ready.
Damn, he's gamed you guys up.
Yeah, but also like, I mean, he was making money off us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He was just, exactly. Exactly. You could say gamed us up. That's the nice way.
That's the PC hustler term.
No, that's the friendly way of saying it. You know what I mean?
Corrupted some.
Today they call it
boys.
grooming.
Grooming. Yeah, he groomed you little thugs. Hell yeah.
I had some close older people in my life though who were in the game early. So when I got to college and when I was like finally of age to start doing real shit, or like where my family would start involving me with real shit, it wasn't hard to like tap in deeper to this world. But they were like, they were like, by the time like they realized what was going on, they're like, oh, you're like buying the smoker free, like you ever drive dollars? You know what I mean? How about you take this money for us somewhere? Like I'll give you some weed if you do that. Like, I could do that. I like to drive. You know what I mean?
Problem.
So things got cool quick when I was when I was late high school.
Yeah, man, the good old days, the glory days. And it was the 90s too. I don't know if it was the 90s for you.
No, mine was early 2000s.
I remember still lit.
I remember, like, actually I was talking with someone about this last night. I like vividly remember 9/11, and I was in middle school.
Same, bro. I was a freshman in college, Kane University. That
was the first time that I saw like my dad visibly spooked, and I remember being like, okay, like something really serious is going on. Like I wasn't even I wasn't old enough to like fully grasp what was happening, but like he was fucked up, and I was like, okay, something's wrong here.
Yeah, that shit was wild, bro. Yo, I had a fake ID, right? From Times Square. You used to get them in Times Square. Say photo ID. Tell them whatever you want. This is before 9/11. They shut all them shits down. After 9/11.
Yeah. No, I know.
But
this is, remember the airports used to look? What?
Oh yeah, right. But fucking after 9/11, I had a New York address, so it was always, hey, oh my gosh, you know, I'm so sorry. And I'd be in Jersey buying liquor as a young boy. I'm so sorry. I'd have to play this shit off like, yeah, man, it's fucked up. And it was fucked up. And I did feel that way.
Was the address close?
It was in Manhattan.
Okay, but it wasn't. So like people were just
no. It was like
this is like
uptown,
this is like as a Jew, and people are like, oh man, I'm sorry about what's going on in Israel. I'm like, I don't fucking care about Israel, bro. What?
Are you Jewish and Italian? Because you have an Italian last name. Okay.
I'm a pizza bagel, bro.
Pizza bagel.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm pasta and potatoes.
There you go. There you go.
Irish.
I actually, so my dad is
North Jersey hybrid.
My dad is like 75-25 Irish and Italian, or like primarily Italian.
No doubt.
25% Irish.
No doubt. So I call it the North Jersey hybrid.
There's a lot of us in New York.
There's a lot of us, bro. In New York too, for sure.
Tri-state area. Yeah.
Exactly. So, if you could smoke with 2 people, one dead, one alive, who would they be?
So, dead, I don't know who the individual, but probably one of the pop art gods. And when I say that, I mean Andy Warhol, Keith Haring, or Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Cool.
In terms of alive, I gave a polarizing answer on the last one. I said Kim Jong-un because just because I think this is, and listen, obviously I'm not doing it because I'd be on lists forever or whatever. But North Korea really likes weed, and like they got some other shit going on. Yeah. And they got some weird shit going on.
Speak on that for a second.
I
did not know
like
this.
They don't know much. Yeah, it's legal there. Like it's legal there. They fucking cultivate it. Yeah.
Oh shit.
And we did an April Fool's prank a couple years ago about we're doing a cannabis cup in North Korea, and obviously it was a joke. We're not fucking going to North Korea, but like I do think that like something impactful and big that like I actually have the potential to access is like going and doing something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like also maniacal and crazy to think
Bro,
about.
don't
But
do
at
it.
the same time,
Like, I think you could do it, but don't do it, bro. But
The same way
I think you get off like on some Dennis Rodman shit.
it's the same
like,
way. It's the same way I feel about the cartels. Like I am sure, I know, in fact, that like I could tell some of those stories. I just the repercussions of telling
Yeah.
some of those stories that you don't know how that's gonna fracture. And
Well,
I
it's
don't mean
not
like
deep.
I don't think that like my life in danger or anything like that. I mean like the feds will be like fucking, you know, like what are you doing down there? You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
tell us about the conversation or trying to get you to go undercover or some shit. Like no fucking way.
Chill, bro.
I write about entertainment. We're
That's
having
it.
fun over here.
Yeah.
There's no, you know, I tell people who are doing interstate trafficking things that it's as dangerous.
Yeah, for sure. Yo, you know who's ill right now? The comedian that got locked up for drug trafficking. He was just on First Smoke of the Day. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about?
Locked up for drug trafficking. I don't know.
Yeah, some white dude. He's a white comedian. He got locked. I gotta get his name, man. I want to plug his name. I'd love to have him on the show. But
I don't
this
know.
dude's dope, bro.
I don't remember. Hold on. He said he's on First Smoke.
He's on his First Smoke. Somewhat recently too. Let's fact check that.
Let's get this real quick.
You gotta check him out. His shit's ill, and he's telling the cartel stories for show. For show. Where's this guy? For those listening, we're scrolling through First Smoke of the Day looking for this fella. No, I went too far.
Honestly, I didn't know they did any real comedians yet.
Well, he's been in the game, and he's just
Are
so a
you
lot
talking
of
about
weed.
Squints?
Not Squints, bro.
I was like, he's not a comedian,
Not
but he's a
Squints.
good dude who's fucking, is it for real in the game?
Yeah,
I love
Randy
this dude.
Lanier on there. Fucking. Damn, I'm not seeing, bro. Anyway, we'll circle back.
There's so many crazy fucking smuggling stories, bro. Of
Yeah,
like
oh my
all these
God,
guys,
yeah,
like
there sure
a
is.
lot of those stories. Like this is the weird part about it, and I said before, like I don't want to snitch on that interstate thing that we were talking about.
Can't stop it. You
Well,
know,
but
it's
no,
just
but
what
also
it
like
is.
people watch these podcasts and then like act like when people talking about what they're doing themselves is snitching. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. I'm like, I try and be sensitive of the audience's needs, right? So I'm
Yeah.
not like trying to go and like create content that people feel like is like putting someone in danger or blowing up somebody's spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's also like I saw when Jimmy did his First Smoke episode, like people were pissed off that he was talking about how weed was getting out from California to Thailand. It's like,
It's a no-brainer.
well,
Like,
yeah, like do you think like who's he's not telling any details, you know what I mean?
No, bro.
But like people are still sensitive to like you're spoiling the hustle, you know what I mean? So like,
Dog, did you see that menu? Come on now.
What
you think
menu?
they were like the Thailand drop?
yeah,
like,
yeah.
come on. Anybody who has half a brain of knowledge in this industry and what flavors are available knows, and timelines on how to produce that.
listen, bro, it's
on,
also
son.
like fucking blue sushi jars show up in Japan, bro. Like they do not like weed out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The hypiest shit will find its way to wherever it needs to
Facts,
go.
bro.
You know?
There's a price for everything. Got a price.
Exactly, and also like
Everything got priced,
that's the
bro.
funny part about like when people talk about these ounces being like the small batch ounces that are so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like first of all, I think no ounce over $1,200. Like a $1,200 ounce is like not worth it.
What's
Absolutely not.
the max? Do you think is fair? I think 400.
So okay, but that's also your rose-colored hindsight. And like this is to me like
No doubt.
I say this with
Speak on
respect
it.
because like that's a top shelf eighth to me used to be $400, right? But like now today like a top shelf eighth is like at least $500. $600 was like when Elephant's Growth started doing it.
Right.
I was like, oh man, like that's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
Now the $1,200 is becoming standard, but a lot of this is you got to remember is because of the steps that it's going. You know what I mean? Cash Tree isn't selling $2,000 ounces. He's selling it to somebody who sells it to somebody else who gets it to Chicago who sells it for $2,000 an ounce. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So like a lot of this shit is like it's more of an ecosystem than it is just this person is selling something for this much. You know what I mean? Like fucking the Travis Scott Nikes sell for $1,500.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Nike didn't sell them for $1,500. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. So did you tell me Well, first of all, what is your?
I don't know,
What's
bro.
your max
I don't even
for
remember
ounce?
these questions.
What is your What is your max for the ounce? Then we're gonna go back to I think who's alive who you would smoke with.
Oh, I totally forgot.
No. Who's not here? You told me King.
Oh yeah, no. The fucking the kings of pop art. Oh no, yeah, I did. That's for the kings of pop art was who are dead.
Okay, gotcha.
Fucking
you did say that. My high.
Kim Jong Un is the polarizing one, but honestly, like from more of a real perspective, like I learned pretty young that like most people are just people. You know what I mean? And like there are very few people who are like whatever. So like the people who like I'm really interested in like sitting down with and like learning from are people who like I think are super smart. You know what I mean? So like listen, to be fair, like you know that question about like would you take dinner with Jay-Z or $500,000? Like $500,000 every single time, of course.
Oh, thanks. I know what to do with it.
Exactly. But I would like to sit and talk with Jay-Z because like he has a very interesting way of doing things and a mind that I think like there's value from learning from. And that's like that's my point about all these, like my fundamental point with all this shit is like we should be trying to absorb as much information as possible all the time that's actually quality information, not just headlines. You know what I mean? But like what is the point? Give me like if for no other reason to make sure that your thought process isn't like wrong on things. You know what I mean? Because we all make mistakes. We all think things too quickly. Like if you don't have the full picture, you got no one else. You can't be blamed for knowing the wrong thing. But you can't blame anyone else for not having the full picture if it's out there. You know what I mean? You're just not looking.
Yeah, facts. I would take the 500,000. Pay for I'd give Jay 50 for the sit down.
That's what I'm saying,
and then
bro.
just learn how to make another 5 just based off our conversation. You can take that piece and
be like, hey, come on, I bought you this really nice watch.
You know what I mean?
Come, let's fucking hang out.
Sit down with me. Yeah, man.
I'd pay Alex Todd a bunch of money and ask him to organize it. That's my play if ever I need to sit down with Jay-Z. Alex, just letting you know.
Just throwing that out there.
Just saying. That's my end.
Yo, who's your favorite plug from back in the day, bro? Shout out your favorite plug. You don't gotta say his government name or nothing, but who took care of Jon back in the day, man?
Man, that's like I got cussed when I was young because I didn't know shit and I was excited for the access. And like honestly, like I was trying so hard to like again, I'm a Jew, bro. So like people have always like said like you're cheap, you know, whatever. I was like trying so hard to pay sticker price for everything. You know what I mean? I never asked nobody for discounts or whatever. Someone told me it's $400 ounce, I put $400 on the table. You know what I mean? But that's also like my thing is today it's like actually the people who I would say took care of me were like people who should have insulated me from the business. You know what I mean?
Doubt,
so like no one who not only whose spot I want to blow out, but like they were my groomers. They weren't they weren't
rightfully so
looking out. You know what I mean? But they did look out in a way that they knew how. You know what I mean? They just didn't realize like you know the long and short of a lot of things. But again, like this is the one thing I try and keep in mind with everybody is like you can't judge with moral standards decisions made for survival, right? So like a lot of these kids that were just trying to like figure out how to come on, you know, like
say that again for the people.
You can't judge with moral standards like things that people do for survival. So like if somebody's back's against the wall and they're trying to survive and they're making fucking wild moves that you don't understand, of course, because they're just trying to fucking to live to fight the next day. But if you try and act like you can like, you know, understand that and like, you know, rationalize it, like you won't be able to because it doesn't make sense. It was the opportunity that was available that was there at the time. They were in fight or flight mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You can't judge somebody for that. Like, or you shouldn't judge somebody for that. You should note that. It's like, it's the thing. Like I hear like everyone talk about red flags and stuff like that. And like, it's such a funny concept to me because like, okay, you got a bunch of red flags, whatever. But like that's like the kind of thing that like a real red flag, like a mental note that like I'm putting in the account, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, this person acts irrationally or this person acts out of desperation. Like that's the judgment I think that is fair to make, not, hey, this person's an idiot. You know what I mean? That comes
with growth, bro. It comes with growth and understanding, knowledge, wisdom, and just experience. You know what I'm saying?
Totally. It's also...
And so maybe I've graduated for one of them seasons, which I have been in.
Exactly.
It's some wild shit back in the day.
That's the thing that I think, too, is like... That's why, like, a lot of this shit is, like, people fuck up all the time. We have to forgive them. Bro. We're a community. We're trying to make everyone like the only way we succeed is if we all succeed. We're not gonna succeed by separating, because like success on a real level is not us getting a bunch of money. You know what I mean? This is a tool created by our oppressors to keep us fucking thinking that we need something. Well, when we're gonna succeed is when we all realize this fucking tool we created is bullshit. And how do we get to the next level? How do we reach beyond the stars? How do we travel the speed of light? How do we fucking harness the power of the sun? We're too busy figuring out like fucking which Twitter to use. You know what I mean? Like, it's all the same shit. We got fucking 4 versions of it now, but everyone's like, oh my God, I gotta maintain 4 of them. Like, I will say I'm copying and pasting fucking just from one to another. So, you know, hopefully that works.
No doubt. No doubt. So, tell me the best advice and the worst advice somebody ever gave you. No, in no particular order.
That's tough. Best advice. Okay, so the worst advice is it's not that deep, because that to me has always been the funniest thing for people to say, because it always is, and even deeper than you realize. Like that's the reason people are
it's
reacting
a selfish thing to say, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like they're like it's a dismissal. That's what it is. It's definitely. It's not a rational response, right? And I think that the best advice that I've ever gotten is actually, okay, so this is a good one. And this wasn't exactly advice as much as like following an example. But my dad grew up with nothing. Like he grew up in, I wouldn't say squalor, but like, you know, like his a single mother who was working all the time trying to provide for her kids. Like, they didn't have a great situation. So he came up laying cable. Like, he didn't have a great education. He came up laying cable at Bell Atlantic and like literally working with techs, like putting in phone wires. You know what I mean? Before the internet and all that shit. But he learned that if he could understand the jargon and all the shit that the techs were doing and digest it and explain it to the suits, that like that was a very lucrative place for him to sit, because like it was like less stress and less like manual labor and shit like that. He'd have to crawl around and fucking, you know, in whatever the fucking things are. Why can't I think
railroad
of the name?
tracks?
No, in people's houses and shit. Crawl spaces. He didn't have to like crawl through crawl spaces with rats. At like what he could do is sit in the office and explain like, hey, you guys need to do that work and this, and so that we can do X, Y, and Z that the suits want. You know what I mean? And basically he taught me about like translation, and like that has been incredibly valuable for me, because that's like honestly like where all the writing comes from, right? Is like that's why most of my shit like is in analogies and stuff like that, is because like what I'm trying to do is like digest things and make it so like it's really easy for you to just pick up and swallow. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to say
it is too.
Oh, this is like super complex or whatever. Like no, like okay, yes, it is super complex, but if you think about it like X, Y, and Z, now actually you know this system. It's just something that is presented to be something else. You know what I mean? And like that's to your thing earlier about like, but I like to take things apart and like, you know, like figure out the quickest way to put them back together. It's also like figuring out how they work and understanding like the mechanics of things are far more interesting to me than like the glossy outside. You know what I mean? Like, so but I think we said this before, but like the point of stories is they're supposed to be like something to overcome. That's what makes us like reading it rewarding, but like understanding the mechanics of that and like and why people are going to feel some way, and again anticipating the way the audience will feel as opposed to just the way it will look, is a much more rewarding effort in and of itself. Because then when you see people engage with it and react the way you plan to, that's a far more enjoyable process. Because like I'm not good at taking compliments. Well, I'm not good at taking compliments. So like I don't want someone to say to me like, oh, I really like. Honestly, bro, it makes me kind of uncomfortable when people are like, oh, I really like your writing, or like, you know, like whatever. Especially like if I don't know them, like we're out in public and they're just like, hey, like nice to meet you, like whatever. It's a very sweet moment. So I don't want to not seem appreciative for it. I just my instinct is just to deflect. You know what I mean? Let's show what else. Oh, cool shirt you're wearing. You know what I mean? Like just let's not talk about this.
Syndrome you dealing with?
Maybe, but it's also like I've
dealt with that, bro.
My whole I want to reflect. I don't want to absorb. You know what I mean? I think if that makes sense. Like
You throw it back quick.
Well, yes, but it's also like it throw it back quick so that like, what are you trying to get out of this? You know what I mean? Again, at the same thing, I'm taking it apart to like understand where the goal is so that I can get you there. You know what I mean? Because like if you want to hear about why I write the way I do or whatever, like sure, let's go there. But if you just want like, you know, to hear about like some dope weed or like to meet somebody or something like that, like great. We don't have to do this whole song and dance to fucking get there. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. I mean it in like the same
way to communicate.
It's the same way that I'm writing though. You know what I mean? Like what's the quickest way to get you to understand this? Okay, let's make a bunch of fucking examples that like are all explaining these different parts. And then by the end of it, if you don't see things, if you don't just understand it, like I did something wrong. You know what I mean? And like I that's why where most of the time goes to is solving that math. You know what I mean? Okay, here are the problems, here are the examples, here's the whatever. At the end, does 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 4? You know?
Yeah, I fucks with it. Well, right before we jump into our rapid fire questions, if you could tell you something, what would the advice you would give to you right before you jumped off the porch and jumped into the game? Whatever that is, or career, or whatever you want to call it.
I spent so much time, and actually, I got this from a 5-MeO DMT trip.
A 5 what now?
5-MeO DMT, like toad venom.
Oh, you did the toad, you lucky bastard.
No, it's fun.
Okay.
But it's fun, but it's not the same type of drug as normal drugs.
Sure.
Like, most drugs are like mind expansive. This is like extraction. Like you like pass out and like you wake up with a fortune cookie from the universe. It's like, here's how to be better. And so the one that I think that was the best for me is that I spend all of my time planning for the future, or planning like the ways things can, like for planning for the future or reliving the past, that I'm like missing the now, right? And I think that's like a very important thing to remember and like that I'm not good at is like, again, there's so much shit going on, you know what I mean? That like you don't have to spend every moment fucking breaking things apart to understand how they work, because you will probably figure that out anyway. You know what I mean? Like it's like that, don't waste your like all of the time when you could be creating. You know, I think that's the biggest thing is like just start making. No matter how old I was, just start making more, because that's like dope. I felt for a long time that like, again, I don't want to be the face. So forever, my mentality was I need to enable somebody else who's doing something. You know what I mean? Not I should be doing something. And like writing, I guess, helped, but like I was always like kind of drawing and shit like that. Like, but I never felt I was good enough drawing to like actually do it for real, right? Yeah. Now going back, like when people see like my artist friends see the things that like I've made, like just like around my house or whatever, they're like, you did that? Like, why don't you sell this? You know what I mean? Like, who would buy this? You know what I mean? Like, I'll buy it. And like,
damn, bro.
I only have one. I do all sorts of shit. Like I actually, this is a fun one. That's like kind of a pack rat that I feel like a lot of people in the cannabis industry do this, but I save my packages from like trash basically. And I've been working on like making a little robot guy out of like basically the glass of all these different jars from like, you know, that I've gotten since I started working in cannabis.
Oh, no shit.
But I paint. I write a lot, right? So like I used to write. Yeah, I used to write in a way that like I would try. Okay, so actually you like this. The thing I've been tagging lately, and like I don't go out like I used to go out, but like it's actually just a variation of the letters of Jon. It's like a big J that like kind of looks like a nose, and then an O that looks like an eye, and then the N is sideways, so it kind of looks like the side, but you're seeing like the profile of the face. Oh, cool. But so I've been playing with like making text pictures for a while. You know what I mean? And trying to like how can I write like, you know, like elephant in a way that it looks like an elephant. You know what I mean?
I got you. That's cool.
But like I'm still just writing elephant, and it's not like, you know, fucking, it doesn't have to be elephant. Like it might be like the Jon, like the J is here but the O is over here, and then the N sideways on the other side. You know what I mean? I did one. Well, the thing that I like to do is it's basically like, okay, two actually that I think you'll like. One is like it's all built around like the O smoking a joint, and the N is like a little like a smoke thing. But what I like what I think What I've been more fascinated with lately that I think is even more interesting is not writing my name in order. So like J and then like an O on top of it and like an N on the bottom or something like that. Just like playing with the idea of like it says it, but it doesn't say it the way you expect to say it. You know what I mean?
That's
and
fine.
But like, listen, I've been painting cartoon characters since I was like fucking, I don't even know, 20 something. Like I started drawing them when I was in high school, just in books and stuff like that. And then I was like, you know, I started fucking doing them with paint pens. And then like fucking when I was working at the agency, I was, you know, I needed more creativity there. So I bought like a fucking easel and canvases and whatever. I started doing them fucking on canvases. And I never really sold any. Like I've made some for like family members and friends and stuff like that. But it's more like I really like Master Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. So like I paint him all the time. I made my brother Gerald from Hey Arnold, like just like stupid shit. Cool. My other friend Johnny Bravo, like just like, you know, silly, like.
Well, those are cool, man.
Yeah, like things that like that also like to me like all symbolize our childhood. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, I'm with that. We're gonna take a quick break, Ruby Roo. What's up, Famiglia? Yo, check this out. I gotta take a second to shout out my sponsor, the Gotti brand. Thank you so much for the sponsorship. Here's where you can find the fire in California. The Gotti brand can be purchased at Cookies, Cookies Maywood, Cookies Woodland Hills, Cookies Sacramento, Lemonade Sacramento, Lemonade South Sac, Main Stage Sac and Davis, Zen Garden Wellness down in SoCal. You can get at Lemonade Van Nuys. So thanks again. See y'all back on the show. So now we're gonna hop into some rapid fire questions. These are one-word answers, sir.
One-word
So try to
answers.
give one-word answers. All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like to smoke in the hot or the cold?
Cold.
Joints or blunts?
Joints.
Bongs or bowls?
Neither.
You
bongs,
can say
I guess.
neither. Oh, you
bongs,
bongs?
I guess.
Cold start or hot start?
Cold start. Oh yeah. Cold start.
Rig or Puffco?
Honestly, Puffco. Just convenience. Sorry.
No, it's good.
I know. I'm saying too many words.
Street smarts or book smarts?
Both.
Batman or Superman?
Superman.
Haze or sour?
Fuck. Sour.
Nas or Jay-Z?
Jay-Z.
Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Street Fighter.
Regular doinks or hash holes?
Regular doinks.
Passed out or I'm smoking this to the face?
Smoking it to the face.
What's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Ooh. Fuck, I can't remember the name.
What
orange
color?
one.
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo.
Nice. I can see that.
Michelangelo's
see
fun
that.
one.
80s or 90s?
Okay, this is loaded though. Because
It's loaded.
It's loaded because like I wasn't really around in the 80s, but like I would rather have been around in the 80s, but I'd rather be conscious during both than now. So, you know, anything besides today. How about that?
Okay. NorCal or SoCal?
SoCal.
Pizza or tacos?
Pizza. Come on.
Come on. Tacos or burritos?
Burritos.
Beach or snow?
Beach.
In-N-Out or Five Guys?
In-N-Out. Come on.
Come on. Cheetos or Flamin' Hot Cheetos?
Loaded. Flamin'.
The Wire or The Sopranos?
Fuck. Probably The Wire.
Pacino or De Niro?
De Niro.
Godfather 1, 2, or 3?
Polarizing. All. Collection.
I like it.
It's like Star Wars.
That was the correct answer to the first one to get it.
It's like
for me personally.
It's like Star Wars, bro. Like you can't don't pick a favorite.
Right.
You got to watch the saga. Like
there you go.
I'm not saying you got to watch all 9 movies. No. You got to watch the first 3.
No doubt. Okay, so you got to either smoke Disney carts or last year's outdoor for 1 month. What are you going with?
Last year's outdoor.
You're lost in the woods. You get a pack of matches or a hatchet. What you going with?
Hatchet.
You're getting chased by a bear or a shark.
Bear for sure. I mean, so are you talking about realism or what I prefer? Because realism, I'm not getting preferred by a shark. Like I'm not getting out there that far. You know what I mean? I don't really love the idea of sea life in general.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to like, no, I wouldn't be out
You're a
there.
creature of the land.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Same.
I fuck around in the woods far more than I fuck around in the ocean. I'll say that.
Right.
Not that I want to fight a bear by any means. I actually feel like it'd probably be easier to fight a shark. Because shark,
Yeah.
you just got to punch solidly in the nose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then they fucking their pussies. They'll fly. They'll swim
Yeah.
away. But
Bear's gonna wrestle with you.
Bear,
You know
a
what I'm
bear
saying?
wants to fight.
Yeah. Body shot or face shot from Mike Tyson?
Fuck. Body shot, I guess. Face shot will fucking rearrange your shit.
Yeah,
you got
bro.
fucking months of reconstructive surgery you got to go through.
It's rough, bro.
I'm not trying to fucking, not that like it's put together right now, but like I don't want to be fucking.
It can always get worse.
Yeah, I don't want to be that fucked up.
No doubt. Hot dab or shot of 151?
Neither. But I guess fucking probably the shot. Honestly, it'll be easier to get over the shot.
Right. Gelato Runch Terps or OG Gas?
This is polarizing. Neither. But I guess if I had to align, the candy.
All right. Tupac or Big?
Biggie. Come on.
Wu-Tang or Death Row?
Wu-Tang. This is
My
if
man.
it's gonna be East or West.
No
come
doubt,
on.
no doubt.
NorCal,
yeah.
SoCal gets a little bit more difficult, but fucking
doubt.
East or West.
Hell yeah.
I know where I'm from.
Well, my man, this was a great episode, bro. I love it. I love to.
I like the rapid fire questions. That was fun.
No doubt.
That was fun.
Thank you, man.
I don't know if I said anything worth anything useful the rest of it, but at least the rapid fire, I feel like I nailed.
Fire. You nailed all of it, bro. So I'd like to share with people the Power Network and how do we meet and who do you know that I should get on the show, right? So we met, we spoke on that earlier, kind of organically, Emerald Cup.
Yes, sir.
Ted was there, fucking the Astor Club homies. Doja might have been there. You know what I'm saying? And
The
Problem.
gang,
and then I met
you know.
Problem.
Oh,
Shit,
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? That day. It was a Sunday. Like 2 years ago, I think. And then just seeing you out in the wild, man. You're everywhere.
I
You're
try
fucking
and get around.
everywhere,
I
bro.
mean, like, listen to the
East
point.
Coast, West Coast.
To the point of HighTimes supposed to be representative of all of us. Like,
Yeah.
we need to be everywhere. And I'm like, I will say, like, one thing that I would shout out is like, we're always looking for freelancers. We're always looking for story ideas. So if you ever have anything that you want us to see us talk about or you want to write about, please reach out. My email is just j01@hightimes.com. Super easy. But people that I think that you should be talking to and looking out for, honestly, like I think a lot of the writers in the space are doing some really cool shit right now. Obviously, I love Jimmy. You know,
I would love to get Jimmy
got
on the show.
Nothing but good things to say about Jimmy. I think Matt Jackson does some fucking great, and he's like such a cool creative. Like
Oh,
he's
cool,
like
man.
he's pushing the boundaries more than just, hey, I'm writing a story, but also, hey, I'm writing a story and here are the cool the cool art I got to go with it. Like he's a one man show.
Nice.
There's a dude up here, Patrick Maravellis, who he's one of my favorite writers that we use for HighTimes right now. He's got some very interesting things to say, and he's like a hill kid grower. So like he's like, you know, as close to that perspective as, you know, as we have right now, and I think he's doing a great job. And like I said,
Nice,
like
bro.
the point of HighTime, or one of my biggest goals with HighTimes is like to find the next Hunter S. Thompsons, you know what I mean, and
Yeah,
like platform those guys. And like I really feel like these guys are doing a really solid job. And then also, I mean, like Ellen Holland, who like she's the editor. I hired her to be editor-in-chief for HighTimes. Like she's like my second hand basically.
Nice.
She's so great, and she's like she's a real plant person. You know what I mean? Like there's so many people, especially as the shit gets more designer and cool and stuff like that,
Yeah.
who are just coming because they see this like cool Instagram lifestyle and they're like, this is what I want to be part of. You know what I mean? Like she's actually one who's like, she wrote a book on like an introduction to cannabis. You know what I mean? Like she's really dope.
That's fucking cool,
and
man.
she's in Oakland, so she's close too.
Dope. So how can people find you, reach out to you for that? I think that's a dope plug, man.
So, yeah.
Anything you want to plug, please plug, by all means.
Please check out Weirdos. That's basically my baby. You don't have to read my pieces. I'm not, I'm not that selfish. We do some really cool stuff there, and I think that most of the stories, basically, I don't think I said this earlier, but with Weirdos, not only are we writing the op-ed pieces that we think, the world needs, or our community needs to hear right now, but it's my pet project because I think, like I just said, these writers, like there's so many great voices in the space who don't just write for me, like not like HighTimes writers, right? Like people who like comedians, people who like write for other publications who like I respect what they're doing, even if we can't always work together, right? Even if they can't write for me regularly. So Weirdos is my place where like I go and I pick my favorite people and I'm like, hey, can I get you to do like a one-off for me? And like, I'll say whatever you need to your, you know, your bosses, and like, well, you know, we can plug it however you need them to, or they need you to. But I think you should be a part of this. And so I really do believe just anybody who's written for us, you should be checking out, or especially in that section, you should be checking out. And me, I'm just at Jon Cappetta on all social media, at JonCappetta, 2 P's, 2 T's. And yeah, let's be friends.
Beautiful. Love it, man. Thank you so much for coming through, sharing your
Thank
story,
you for having me. I feel
sharing
like
your thoughts.
This was a long one.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It was a good one, man. I let the good ones flow, baby.
I appreciate
You know
you.
what I'm saying? So check my man out, Jon Cappetta, HighTimes Magazine, legendary publication. We'll see y'all next time, man. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Peace, love, good pizza. We up out of here.